All right, we got nonsense to talk about. It would be lovely if the local professional football team could go a day without sending its fan base spiraling, or at least a portion of it. But yesterday, they decided they would trade Jarvis Brownley Jr., who is one of the promising young players on the roster, and they did it for a bag of beans. 615-737-1045 is the number if you want to get involved. They're going to send this poor, embattled coach out to answer for the front office's decisions. I think that's stupid. I think it's dumb. I don't anticipate hearing from Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker today. I think we should, because that's not fair to Brian Callahan. I don't think that Brian Callahan gets much grace anyway, nor does he deserve it based on the performance of the football team, but I think that part is particularly rotten. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to get involved, you are welcome to do so. Robert is back from the depths of despair that was the Ravens and Lions game. How are we?
I'm here.
What are we just doing? Roll? It's not. Good morning, boys. How are we? It's great.
Present.
It's just a roll call anymore.
As I place my head back down on my desk to take a nap.
It's like, how you doing? I am doing. Just doing.
Good to see you. Good to be seen.
Yeah. 615-737-1045. Like I mentioned, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can interact with the show. So, Jarvis Brownley Jr. goes to the Jets. He's a former fifth-round pick. They get back a sixth and a seventh in the deal.
No.
Am I reading that incorrectly?
They send Jarvis Brownley and a pick. They send Jarvis and a seventh, and they get back a six.
That's right.
So they no longer have Jarvis Brownlee on their roster, and they do not have any more draft pick, but instead of the seventh that they had for 2026, it is now a six.
Okay.
So it's a pick swap.
Maybe eventually that player can become Jarvis Brownley Jr. And it's not like, here's my thing, okay? Because they traded him to the Jets. Apparently they talked to the Patriots, and I think that the circumstance for Jarvis Brownley is such that he's not like a starter on a better football team, but he's a good fourth corner.
He's been a starting caliber corner for this team. Like he has played.
Well, yeah, but this team, whatever. Like, Lucas, I don't think he starts on a lot of other football teams.
Sure, but I don't think we say he has been a starting caliber corner. He has been a quality corner for this team, and it's not just because this team is a bad football team. He has been a quality corner that has played above the value that is expected, especially in his rookie year, from a fifth-round draft pick at cornerback. So it's just something I'd love to make sense of this. We're just trying to make sense of it. Like, why?
Oh, I can do that for you. They don't want Ran Carthon's guys. They want their guys, which is stupid because Chad Brinker was on staff for Ran Carthon.
Okay.
Chad Brinker has been here as long as anybody.
All right. But then, like, you know that for sure?
Yes.
Because by that logic, then they don't want T'Vondre Sweat on the roster, right?
We'll see.
Okay. I'm just saying, by your logic, they want no part of T'Vondre Sweat.
How many Ran Carthon players are left beyond the top, players? You've got Tajay. You've got T'Vondre Sweat. You've got Skoronski.
Who's played well this season.
You've got J.C. Latham.
Like, it can't be as simple as if you were drafted by Ran Carthon.
I don't think it's as simple as that. I think there's a couple of different things here. I think that they want their guys. Okay, their guys are Jalen Armour Davis and Marcus Harris. I expect you'd see a great deal more of them. They want guys who are bought into their culture, whatever the hell that means at this point in time, or they want to build it up with good character guys or guys that they view are good character in their vision. I think Jarvis Brownley did a lot of heavy lifting as a second-year player to try and be a team leader. They also want guys that play with greater discipline, and this is the biggest knock on Jarvis Brownley Jr., is that he wouldn't stop getting penalties, and we have some audio to that effect after the Denver game that we can get to later in the show, because he wasn't, I wouldn't quite call him defiant, Lucas, after the game with us when we were asking about it, but he was in a situation where he wasn't willing to adapt the physicality, the nature of his play, because he felt he was still putting himself largely in position to succeed. And you know who else agreed with that? Denard Wilson. Now, Denard Wilson has also been very strong on the penalties, and he said, he's talking about the safeties and the missed tackles yesterday, and he's saying, well, if these guys don't stop missing tackles, then it's going to start costing guys jobs. And I appreciate that from Denard Wilson. Denard Wilson's unit has to be better. Everything about this football team, save special teams, has to be better.
Yeah, it hasn't been all peachy with Jarvis Brownlee. He had to be.
But like you, no, don't justify this. This is a bad deal. Unless he took a dump, put it in a bag on Amy Adams Strunk's desk, and lit it on fire.
Listen,
I don't care.
We have to operate somewhere that is not on either end of the spectrum, right?
I'm not.
Okay.
I think I'm being very measured about this.
Saying that if you were drafted by Rand Carthon, they don't want you on this roster is not being measured about this. Okay. Do they want Peter Skoronski on the roster?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then we can go ahead and dismiss that.
But they want their guys. They don't feel that Jarvis Brownley Jr. is one of their guys. And I think the vast majority of people who watch NFL football and have seen Jarvis Brownley Jr. play as a fifth-round pick would say that's foolish. Figure it out with a talented young player.
All right.
A cost-effective player. Your job is draft, develop, retain.
Yes, for sure. All I'm saying is, let's lay everything out, okay? It is true that Jarvis Brownlee had penalty issues, that he had to be held back from going after a fan in Tampa at joint practice, right?
Yeah, you know what they said? They liked that.
Right. It is also true that Jarvis Brownlee...
Too hot for you now? I think that's crap.
Calm down.
All right.
Deep breath. You're always coming at me about, you're talking too loud. You're this and that. Why don't you just calm down?
Because I think it's stupid for you to try to defend a thing that seems largely indefensible.
You haven't let me finish at any point.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay? All of those things are true, and it's also true that he played above the level of a fifth-round pick, and you now have a lesser draft pick than what you invested in him in the first place. You essentially got nothing for Jarvis Brownlee Jr. That is where I'm confused.
Did you get better?
Right. I understand the fire sale aspect of things. I understand the way that they're moving forward, the draft picks, the 30 draft picks in 3 years, the amount of top 100 picks. They want picks. But I am just confused at the second-year promising fifth-round corner that, yes, has had some red flags, but has also shown the kind of attitude that you kind of love from that position. I am confused by sending that player, who is a young player, still on a rookie contract, for essentially nothing in return. It's just bumping your seventh-round pick up to a sixth-round pick, where you would be incredibly lucky to get a player in the sixth round that has shown half of what Jarvis Brownlee has shown. Okay, see how we could do both?
It's a much lesser situation.
See how we can talk about what he's done over here and then also talk about why it's confusing and it doesn't have to be all the way to one side or the other?
No, I think it's still stupid. You don't make me feel any less passionate about the fact that I think they did something stupid because they don't want to deal with Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Your job is literally to make better.
Yeah. No, I'm confused.
Better.
I'm confused. And the first thing is okay, something's got to be here. There has to be something here. There just has to be.
What if there's not? That's not a default position I'm willing to take. What about Jarvis Brownlee Jr.? And I'm not going to pretend like we know this guy so well, like we've only spent a year and a couple of games around him, right? But would you not say that that is one of the higher character players on this roster who genuinely cares about having success, who made Cam Ward his profile picture because he's bought in on the rookie quarterback, who's talked publicly at every opportunity about how he and the other young guys on this roster need to take leadership roles because they felt they were bereft of it? Is that not the kind of person that you want to go to war with?
Yeah, no, I thought Jarvis Brownlee was one of the more promising young players on this roster. 100%, which is, again, why I'm baffled by this, which is why just the way my mind works is, okay, there has to be something that I don't know. That's just the way that I'm going to operate with this. There has to be something that I don't know that will make this make more sense than it does. Because
that
at
gives
surface
them benefit
level,
of the doubt, though, that they don't deserve.
Sure. At surface level, it makes no sense. I just like to wait for all the information, and I don't know that we have all the information.
There is a situation, again, I don't think that he is a starting caliber corner on the vast majority in NFL rosters, but Mike Borgonzi got up there after roster cut day and talked about the value of corner and offensive tackle. Jarvis Brownlee, Robert, would you like Jarvis Brownlee Jr. to be your fourth corner if you didn't have to start him? But you could go to him in a depth situation, understanding that player has played, started 16 out of 19 possible games?
Sure.
He's a fourth corner. If he's a fourth corner, your job is to improve the roster floor, the talent floor of the roster. You can get better while still keeping Jarvis Brownlee because he's cheap, and it's your job to make it work around the talent. I just think that's crap.
I am also confused by it, which is why there's got to be something else there. There just has to be.
737-1045 is the number if you would like to get involved. No, there doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
For this to make sense, there has to be.
Okay, well, what if it just doesn't make sense?
That's possible, but I'm not going to say it is without knowing.
Okay, yeah.
That's the difference.
I am looking at an organization that does a great many things that don't make any damn sense and don't succeed as a result. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay. Everybody take a deep breath.
Okay.
We are all going to recklessly speculate why he got cut right now. I think Jarvis Brownley Jr. declined an Amy Adams invitation onto a exclusive cruise where he would go and get a vacation. All they had to do was put him on injured reserve, and he said, "No, I want to play for this team." Amy was like, "No, please come vacation with me. We would be a fantastic couple on this cruise." Jarvis was like, "No, I have a job here." So they traded him. That's my reckless speculation.
Are we going to sandwich it with the Blaine sound?
I think I needed that on the front and the back end, just so I didn't get in
There's
trouble.
a lot of detail
Do
there.
you guys want to recklessly speculate?
I like yours.
No, come on.
He
You
doesn't
guys
have anything. We shouldn't have let you lead because now we don't have anything
neither
as
of us are going
creative.
to have anything
Okay,
better
I can
than
come
that.
up with another one. All right. Jarvis Brownley Jr. has racked up an incredible tab at a Toys R Us in Tennessee. He is just going in there and buying so many toys.
They went under.
For kids, for the community. He's trying to make sure everyone has a good Christmas. He's starting early, and the Titans did not want to foot his Toys R Us bill. That is why Jarvis Brownley was traded.
So, we now have the chat.
Sorry, that was the last one.
We now have the chat recklessly speculating.
Good. That's what I want today. Instead of all these calls being like, we shouldn't have traded. We should have traded. I'm glad he's gone. Everyone needs to call up and recklessly
Oh,
speculate.
yeah, I don't want to get into the back and forth today. I was shocked as many people were like, they're trying to send a message. A message about what? Accountability? This franchise, please. 615-737-1045. We'll take your phone calls coming up next. I'm Buck Rising. It's 1045 The Zone. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is here to serve you the way that they have helped guys for over a decade get right with performance. Erectile dysfunction can wreck your confidence. It can impact your relationship, your mental health, and even your sense of identity. And they aren't cookie-cutter treatments that are on offer. The Tennessee Men's Clinic is urology-based and staffed with multiple licensed providers who specialize in men's sexual health. They use proven treatments tailored to your specific situation. No one size fits all. Too many guys rely on pills that don't work or come with nasty side effects. There are better treatments. Sometimes it's a combination of those treatments that finally unlock the results that you've been missing. So call now today at 615-208-9090. That's 615-208-9090 or book easily online at TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken, the best hot chicken in the world. 615-737-1045 is the number. So, to Lucas's point, what do we know about the Jarvis Brownlee situation? We know that they tried to move him, that they've spent the last week trying to move him. We know that the Jets and also the Patriots were interested in Jarvis Brownley Jr. The Jets ultimately took the deal.
And that he was inactive on Sunday with an injury.
And showed up to Nissan Stadium in a boot. It's the first time we'd seen him in a boot. James Williams was also inactive.
Yeah.
James Williams getting traded next.
It is a Rand pick, but yeah.
Aren't they the same kind of vibe?
Cedric Gray, playing time. Kaiser White ate up some of Cedric's playing time on Sunday.
And Denard Wilson said they expect to see more Kaiser White. So we're not just talking about, there are guys that are lower down on the draft pedigree stuff, but I think everybody, if you were selected by a previous administration, is probably going to be looked at a little harder, which is completely fair.
That is a more fair way to say it. What I think is lazy is to say, if you were drafted by Rand Carthon, they don't want you here. Okay. I think that's lazy.
That's fair.
Peter Skoronski was drafted by Rand Carthon.
Playing really good football.
Yeah. And once we start hearing about Peter Skoronski potentially being traded, then maybe we can cross that bridge. But we're not hearing that.
Let's not make it Skoronski. Let's make it Sweat. What if they try to move Sweat? Sweat, who was a Rand Carthon pet project.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Big move.
Flew down to Houston to let me get on the phone with his mom. I think Slay was talking about this yesterday to some effect. Is Tavondre Sweat not an asset for this football team?
Yeah, he's somebody they sure could have used the last 2 weeks.
Okay. I'm not a situation to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
All Rand Carthon
what are you saying about Sweat?
Acquisitions are worth keeping an eye on.
Are you saying anything about Tavondre Sweat?
Oh, no. I'm just saying, is he somebody? Because he came in with a certain kind of attitude situation. Dane Brugler, who talks to every team in the league, said he was off many teams' draft boards and that Rand Carthon went the extra mile. In fact, that was one of the shining moments of Rand Carthon, right? They went the extra mile. They took the team PJ down to wherever it is that Sweat's family is in Texas to further vet Sweat and make everybody feel comfortable with the idea of adding this player to a locker room, even though he was dealing with some stuff at the time.
But he's not been an issue since he got here, has he?
No, not as far as I know. Right. I just think, I do think the thing, the line is that he re-injured himself in practice on Thursday after telling people he was going to play on Wednesday. Yeah. And that's all well and good. He's on injured reserve. We won't talk to him for a month. So we'll see what happens with Tavondre Sweat or guys like that. The trade deadline didn't they move the trade deadline back this year or was it last year?
I'm not sure what year it was, but I do know it has been moved back a week. It has been
moved later. So we will find you the exact date of the trade deadline here in just a little bit. I don't know that Calvin Ridley can be traded for anything at this point, given how poor his performance has been. But I'm looking at guys who Rand brought in, and they have a similar attitude to them, right? Like Ridley, when he's playing well. This is obviously a precursor, but Ridley has a certain kind of demeanor. A lot of South Florida guys were brought in by Rand Carthon, who is also a South Florida person. A lot of people who could identify with Rand Carthon or who Rand Carthon could identify with were brought in by this team. Jarvis Brownlee, James Williams, Calvin Ridley, Tavondre Sweat. There's a list there, and some have been successful, some have not been. We'll just be curious to see how this goes.
Can we hear from, before we get to the phones, can we hear, never mind. Robert popped out real quick. Let's get to the phone.
Cigarette break. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go to Zach in Chattanooga. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Buck. I think this trade is complete incompetence in the front office. But also, if history repeats itself, Brownlee's going to be a Pro Bowler in a year or two. And Denard Wilson, from the videos I saw yesterday, he looks like the same face Vrabel had when they traded A.J. Brown. Thank you. Bye.
No, I don't think it's quite that. That's a very extreme comparison. I don't think the A.J. Brown being traded away from the Titans is one of the worst trades in the last decade of the NFL.
Yeah, easily.
Jarvis Brownlee is not quite that. Again, I don't think that Jarvis is a starting caliber corner in a lot of different places, but don't you need good depth?
Yeah. No, again, he was a player that you felt like you could build around. in that room and still on his rookie deal. Can we hear from Jim Wyatt? He was on 3HL yesterday. Jim Wyatt, of course, of TennesseeTitans.com, the esteemed Jim Wyatt, talking about this trade and what may or may not have been behind it. This one.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I love Brownlee myself. And
me too.
They don't want me to disparage him on the way out the door, and I don't think I can fully tell why that happened. All I can do is just say, I think he's a feisty, good young player. Love the way he plays. Obviously, he had some penalty issues, and maybe there was some stuff that happened, or maybe there were some things that made the current regime a little bit more unsure about him than the guy who drafted him. But I wish him well. Great young player, tough kid, and we'll see what Brian Callahan says about that tomorrow. Yeah, I'm definitely, I could think.
Okay, what about it?
Yeah, not going to say anything disparaging, but leaving the door open. Maybe there's something there that we didn't know about that has this regime not feeling good about Jarvis Brownlee.
I'm sorry.
Not feeling like the way that Rand Carthon felt.
This regime? There's only one person that's different about this regime. It's the same head coach that drafted him. Same president of football operations that drafted him. What didn't they know something now that they didn't know a year ago? Come on.
So what, Jim?
No,
I just heard Jim Wyatt say that. I don't understand what you're...
did the thing that Jimmy will do in those situations, which is not disparage anybody, not divulge information, but Jim is not going to hang the team out to dry, right? Jim gave a fact-based analysis of what happened on Sunday with Brian Callahan and was aggregated all over the place because people freaked out. Oh, even the team reporter is comfortable just saying what happened in a game, and that's too far for a team reporter to go. I love Jim Wyatt. I respect Jim Wyatt. Jim Wyatt is the only person with that organization that I feel like I really trust. But that this regime, it's the same regime. It's not that different. It's just a different GM. Joe is in Tennessee next.
Hey, yeah. It's a little off topic, but Monday night.
Well, I don't want to do the off topic thing. We're talking about the Brownlee thing, but call back later, Joe. Appreciate you. How about Luke in Dixon next?
Hey, guys. So, yeah, I was, pretty upset too yesterday, but I took a step back, kind of looked at what we know. Obviously, if they're shopping him around, he's been on the record saying he doesn't feel like he needs to change his play. Denard's been on the record saying he's got to fix things and stop the penalties. I loved what we saw out of him and the potential and the dog, but, sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. Obviously, he would have been a great depth piece, but you have to ask, are distractions, arguments, locker room issues worth keeping a player around for depth? So the fact that they just kind of gave away and barely moved up a pick spot tells you they didn't really have any leverage, and other teams had to be in the know too. Maybe they can try to fix them there, but to me it just seems like it wasn't going to work out on either side, and they had to move on, and it sucks, but whatever. So, right.
Well, let me give you some context, Luke, for that, and I appreciate the call, and you're correct about the lack of leverage in a situation like that. The response that was provided to me on the value of what they got back for Jarvis Brownlee, value is a reflection of little interest. Trading a guy on a rookie deal, people often ask why. I think that's fair context, but it also doesn't mean that you can't find a way to figure it out with a talented player.
Sure. No, it doesn't.
Does draft, develop, retain not take a hit when you're selling off pieces and parts that are supposed to be value?
That's what made it so head-scratching, because it feels like it goes directly against draft, develop, retain, which is why when Jim Wyatt says maybe there's something there, I listen. I pay attention to that, because none of it matches up with the direction that they are trying to go.
Okay, that just means that they missed something in vetting him the first time around. That doesn't let them off the hook.
Who's letting them off the hook?
Is that not what you're saying?
Nobody's letting anybody off the hook.
Then I'm confused as to why that makes it a shred of difference.
I'm saying it can be more complicated than they traded Jarvis Brownlee because they're idiots. and because he was drafted by Rand
No, I
Carthon.
didn't say that.
Okay, well, that feels like the direction this is going. Like,
I don't think that they're I don't think that they have made a lot of good decisions
you're
of
right
late.
that they haven't earned benefit of the doubt. Nobody with the Tennessee Titans has benefit of the doubt. I'm just saying, when Jim Wyatt says things, I listen. So I'm just trying to see
you
why.
think I don't respect Jimmy's opinion?
I know you do. I'm just trying to see why trying to rack my brain on why trade Jarvis Brownlee.
Well, I'm sure the coach, who has no involvement in personnel really, is going to provide a great deal of context on why the corner was moved, which is why I think it's crap that they're not talking. I would love to see them give an impromptu situation the way that Brian Callahan had to yesterday, because, I mean, again, it's not like it's not earned the slings and arrows that Brian Callahan is taking here, but I don't think it needs to be gratuitous, and this feels gratuitous. Nathan is in Murfreesboro next.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. If they traded Jarvis Brownley for anything other than football reasons, the whole front office needs to be fired. L'Jarius Sneed was in a lawsuit in Texas for shooting somebody in a car parking lot. It's ridiculous. The franchise is abysmal. See it.
Appreciate the call. We will see what Brian Callahan says. His press conference is now 11:50-ish, is what they said. It was scheduled for noon, so maybe he gets there a little early. Maybe he just ends up going at noon either way.
I'd be curious as to why the value is what it is, too, right? Because multiple teams, I saw Jordan Schultz reporting that the Patriots also, what you think, was Vrabel on the phone with Chad Brinker there? That'd be an interesting conversation.
Well, him or Ryan Cowden. I know who it wasn't. It's not Elliott Wolf. That guy has no say in there.
So if there were multiple teams that were in the discussions, why is the value so low? Why couldn't they get something more?
For exactly what the caller pointed out. Why are you trading a young player that's starting for you for pennies?
Yeah. But I'm also looking at the flip side of that. Why is the team on the other side of the trade not willing to give more than pennies for Jarvis Brownley Jr.?
Oh, because they don't want to be the team that gives up too much. You know, in the same way that John Robinson's an extreme situation, but like these people still want to win a deal. They're competing to win a deal. You don't want to be the team that gives up too much value for a guy and then gets gotcha'd after the fact. Like, there's going to be some skepticism. It's not like they obviously have good working relationships with everybody else in the league. Brinker and Borgonzi have known each other for 15, 16 years or whatever it is. Like, Mike Vrabel's been around football for a long time. I'm sure a lot of people have a relationship with Ryan Cowden and Mike Vrabel. And who's the Jets general manager right now? I don't know that, actually, off the top of my head.
Oh, they just hired him.
Either way. So there is going to be some skepticism, like, all right,
Darren Mogi?
what do you know that we don't?
Yeah, exactly.
And they're not going to fully disclose those situations because they're clearly trying to move a player. And even if it is, well, he's not our vibe right now.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Is that a good enough reason?
I don't know. I'm not in there. I'm not in the locker room in the building. I don't know. I can't make a definitive
I'll
statement.
be in the locker room later. I'm sure that's going to be an interesting conversation. So, Jalen Armour-Davis or Marcus Harris? Are they better? Is this football team better for trading Jarvis Brownlee?
Yeah, no. They are not a better or deeper cornerback room.
Okay, very good.
After trading Jarvis Brownlee. That is for sure.
I mean, I guess you're going to solve some of the penalty problems, but again, that's not going to keep Blake Hance from false starting. It's just this. There's so many things that they do are very confusing. And I would love to have a more thorough explanation. I just think that they are in a situation where Mike Borgonzi, who doesn't have complete roster control, but is being given a level of oversight, certainly over the coaching staff, to come in here because he's an attractive general manager candidate. This did not look like an attractive job, even though they had the number 1 overall pick. They got Mike Borgonzi anyway. Good on them. Mike Borgonzi deserves, here's as much fairness as I'll go for. He deserves an opportunity to shape the roster the way that he thinks the roster should be shaped. But this is deeply perplexing if there's not some it would have to be a real problem. Jarvis Brownlee would have to be a real problem to move it just based on attitude stuff, no?
Yeah. Yeah. Like that. Thank you. That's where I am. Like, for this to make any sense.
Where is there any indication of that? That's not anywhere in the reporting. That he's some kind of malcontent? There's nobody's reporting or talking about the idea that he asked for trade?
Thank you. We're on the same page. It's why it doesn't make sense.
Sure, but you're assuming that there's something there.
I feel like
make it make sense.
Yes, for it to make sense, there has to be something there.
And I am simply providing the devil's advocate argument that there may not be something there that makes sense. And I think both of those conversations are worth having.
Right, but my argument to that is, if there's not, then you can get something better than a late-round pick swap. Surely, if there's nothing there, there's no red flags, then surely you can get something better.
I mean, the red flags are the penalties. Can I hear from Jarvis Brownley? Do you have that video, Robert, from Denver? Because this is us with Jarvis Brownley in the Denver visiting locker room after that game, where obviously he had 3 penalties in that game and was a big issue for to allow the Broncos to stay in that game where they were not helping themselves necessarily. Let's hear from Jarvis Brownley with the media.
That acceptable to these officials?
I ain't got no answer for you on that one. I ain't gonna lie to you.
What was their explanation when you had the second call on that crosser with Sutton?
Shit. They ain't tell me nothing.
Did you ask?
Nah, there wasn't even no point. You know, when you know you playing good defense and you already talked to the ref before the game and they already knew it was going to be a physical battle, shit, you could...
All right.
Well, we didn't.
Thanks for the heads up on that. I should have listened to it.
Yeah, no, I assume that we listened to it before we play it.
Well, you posted the damn thing. You were like, well, I've got
on the internet.
Yes, and you wanted to play this on the radio. You could have given me a heads up.
No accountability.
Is all I'm saying.
No
That's all I'm
accountability
saying.
by Lucas.
I should have listened to it, but I would appreciate
Okay, well, let's clean it up. We can play it in the noon hour. That's fine. We can clean it up between now and the end of the show. That's okay, because it's worth listening. Because he does, Lucas, one of the things that people do need to hear is him being a bit defiant about the fact that he doesn't need to change the style of play, which would be in favor of their argument to move him. I do think it's worth people hearing that, so let's clean it up and we can play it for them later in the show. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to get involved. You have observations?
I do. There was SEC quarterback news yesterday. There was SEC scheduling news yesterday, and there is a massive weekend of SEC football coming up.
I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. You want to make sure that you're investing smartly, that you're prepared for retirement, and that you're generally managing your wealth correctly. Trajan Wealth is here to help you on all of those fronts because you want to ensure that your retirement is the ultimate summer vacation. Call Trajan Wealth today, and they'll put you in position to succeed. As a veteran, Trajan Wealth CEO Jeff Jr. fully appreciates the importance of true independence. He founded Trajan Wealth as an independent firm, allowing fiduciary advisors the ability to customize a portfolio to meet your unique goals and needs. Call Trajan Wealth to discuss options for achieving financial independence today. 615-270-5000. That's 615-270-5000, or visit them online at TrajanWealth.com. Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. This is a paid advertisement.
All right, news. We have news. Yesterday, the SEC released schedules for the foreseeable future from 2026 through 2029. Now, we already knew who every team's 3 fixed opponents is going to be for the next 4 years, and the other 6, as they move to a 9-game schedule, will be rotating throughout the course of the conference. And so we know Tennessee's 2026 conference slate will include home games against Alabama, Kentucky, Auburn, LSU, and Texas. They will hit the road to play Arkansas, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt. A gauntlet in Neyland Stadium. Only one team has been able to beat Tennessee in Neyland for the last few years, since 2022 in the Josh Heupel era. That is Georgia. That is going to be put to the test in 2026 with Alabama, Kentucky, but Auburn, LSU, and Texas. So
don't be so dismissive of Kentucky. You love Kentucky.
I do love Kentucky, but I am going to be dismissive of Kentucky.
That's what I'm saying.
So we thought that Tennessee's 3 fixed opponents were rather favorable in that they got Kentucky and not Florida or Georgia, but they're paying for it. And this is the reality, right? Like you're not just playing those 3 fixed opponents. You're also going to play 6 other opponents. It's the SEC. You're going to get some tough matchups. But LSU, Texas, and Auburn, I don't know what Auburn will be next year. They have a huge game this weekend against Texas A&M. Feels like if Auburn loses that game and Jackson Arnold gets sacked 9 times again, they could start to spiral. But LSU and Texas coming to Neyland in terms of, from a talent profile perspective, will be a huge challenge for Tennessee. And but I suppose you'd rather play those teams at home than on the road, where their road slate is, I'll say somewhat favorable. Arkansas, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, but going to Texas A&M will be a big challenge. Yeah. That feels like a program that Mike Elko has headed in the right direction. Marcel Reed has been really fun at quarterback. That defense is more like what a Mike Elko defense is expected to be. So, yes, 2026, I don't know who's going to be playing quarterback for Tennessee, whether it's going to be George McIntyre or Faison Brandon, or if Joey Aguilar sues for another year. Who knows?
Would you want him back?
I mean, he keeps playing like this, man.
I know.
Yeah, But
at the expense of Faison Brandon?
Faison Brandon was going to come in and potentially sit his freshman year anyway. I think there is a scenario where George McIntyre is this team's starting quarterback next year. I think they really like him after watching him throughout spring practice and fall camp. But yeah, if this is rolling with Joey Aguilar the way that it's rolling, by the way, we're going to talk about Heisman odds in a little bit. Then, yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, man. Like, this ain't the NFL, right? Where if Aguilar comes back, you would probably be paying him more than the $1.2 million in NIL than you're currently paying him. And certainly he'd have more of an opportunity to make that sort of money in college football, you would think, as opposed to the NFL. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge if we come to it. Point is, it's a tough schedule for Tennessee in 2026.
Yeah, man, that's no small thing. It kind of balances out, like you were saying, the way that you felt the 3 recurring opponents were going to be favorable. But man, LSU, I mean, we don't know what these teams will look like, obviously, in 2026. College football is a constant, the ground feels like it's constantly shifting under these college football programs in the current environment. I mean, do you like how challenging that schedule is? Because if you succeed with a schedule like that, like your college football playoff resume is indisputable.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain about it. Like, it's the SEC. You can only complain. Tennessee's schedule is very manageable this season.
You have at Arkansas, which is your house of horrors. As a program,
last year it was, but
haven't they not won at Arkansas since like the early aughts?
Yeah, they've probably played at Arkansas like 4 times since then. Gainesville and Tuscaloosa probably ranks a lot higher on that list. But okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just looking at this. I mean, South Carolina feels, I don't know, people want them to be good. They're trying to manifest it into being a competent high-level program, and they've underwhelmed at this point in time. And I'm not out on Lenora Sellers by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think, I don't know. I'm not inspired by the way that Shane Beamer has been able to reach or meet the expectations that I think have been. I mean, these are not unreasonable things that we're asking of Shane Beamer, that we're looking at Shane Beamer expecting him to achieve.
Yes, and they also feel like a team that is on the cusp of going downhill pretty quickly, right, of kind of spiraling. They host Kentucky. It's a great bounce-back opportunity for South Carolina. But, yeah, you're going to go into Columbia, and it's a good environment, and Sandstorm's playing, and you still got to defend Lenora Sellers, and you still got to block Dylan Stewart because those guys are true sophomores this year. They will be back unless they hit the portal next year, which I suppose is entirely possible in this era. But very challenging schedule for Tennessee in 2026. Like I said, you can't sit here in the SEC and complain about having to play LSU in Texas. That's just what it is, especially when your schedule is as manageable as it is in 2025, and your opportunity to make the college football playoff is right there for the taking, quite honestly, in 2025. If you can, down the road, handle your business at home and beat one of Alabama or Florida on the road, that Florida game should be so gettable in that second to last week of the season. There's a real scenario where that team, the roster is pillaged at that point. Napier is fired, and it's just a lame duck football team at the end of the season. So you either, in my mind, is assuming you take care of business against the Mississippi States and Arkansas of the world, you either sweep the rest of your home slate and win one of Alabama, Florida on the road, or you trip up at home against Oklahoma and sweep Bama and Florida on the road, two places that you have not won in about 2 decades. So we'll see, but it is within Tennessee's grasp, that is for sure. Speaking of Oklahoma, this was big news yesterday. Oklahoma quarterback John Mateer, as announced by the program, will undergo hand surgery today to address an injury that he sustained against Auburn. Now, this is not a season-ending situation. He will return to action in a matter of weeks, is what it sounds like. Pete Nakos of On3 Sports reporting that the hope is the Red River rivalry against Texas, which is on October 11th. Tennessee hosts Oklahoma on November 1st. Something to keep in mind. What it does have an effect on, the Heisman odds. Who do you think? Do you have them pulled up?
I literally just Googled it, but I did not click on a link yet. So.
Okay. What are you looking at? What sportsbook?
No, I literally, in the Google search, I haven't clicked on a single link.
Per FanDuel, who do you think is the current favorite? Because it was Mateer. It is no longer with this news to win the Heisman.
Carson Beck?
It's your boy.
Mendoza.
It's Fernando Mendoza at plus 800.
Favorite?
He is currently, again, FanDuel Sportsbook, plus 850 to win the Heisman Trophy. After the performance he had with Indiana.
I mean, they
hanging
hanging
60, I should say. He had 5 touchdown passes against a top 10 Illinois team at home. Just smoked them. By the way, Curt Cignetti is talking about it and talking. Who does Indiana play this week?
Michigan State.
Yeah, he's talking about. Yeah, we'll see if they can provide a bigger challenge than the
proud
team.
Of me? I knew who Indiana
last week.
That is
that is an upset.
And at Oregon after that, I looked at the schedule.
I love Curt Cignetti, man. He is so awesome.
Yeah, you do until he's in the SEC, bud.
Yeah, until he's coaching the Florida Gators.
I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. I have no idea whether the opportunity to coach at a traditional football power with the kind of money that comes associated with. But Indiana's got money now.
Yeah. So Mendoza, plus 850, tied for the second favorites at the moment are Dante Moore of Oregon and Jeremiah Smith, the receiver out of Ohio State, at plus 1,100. And then it is a laundry list of quarterbacks that are tied at plus 1,400, Joey Aguilar included. So he is currently tied for being the third favorite to win the Heisman with Carson Beck, Marcel Reed, Gunnar Stockton, Jaden Mayava, the USC quarterback. And Aguilar rounds out that list. Whole bunch of SEC quarterbacks. Why am I overrating
Carson Beck?
You are?
Why am I?
I don't know.
Feel like
you tell me.
No, I feel like, well, I just feel like he's playing at a program that gets a lot of attention. They're having success, and I understand they've got a much better defense this year than they did with Cam Ward in 2024. And he's, after his first game against Notre Dame, he hasn't been as spectacular, but he's been solid. He doesn't have to do as much. I just thought that would be worth more at a program like Miami than Indiana. Maybe it's just a good story. I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't spectacular against Florida. You're right. It's a good defense, too, and he didn't really have to be. But Wet Powder Wednesday is coming up, and we'll reserve my Miami chatter for that.
Exciting.
Huge weekend in the SEC slate. Alabama, Georgia. After that thriller last year in Tuscaloosa, this game is being played in Athens. I can't wait. This is the type of game where you truly learn about a football team. This is where we truly learn about what Alabama's going to be this year.
They're way more in question than Georgia.
Way more in question. Like, keep your powder dry. Season's not over in September. I get it. But we are going to learn about Alabama. If they go to Georgia and they put up the kind of fight, the kind of performance that they did in that game at home last year against Georgia, where they were up big and then Georgia came back and it turned into a crazy thriller that Alabama ended up outlasting the Bulldogs, then I think Alabama is for real. And I know they collapsed last season. I get it. But this team, with Ty Simpson, who's playing very well at quarterback, inferior opponents, I understand, is more talented than that team last year. And what they're trying to prove this weekend is that Florida State was more of a wake-up call than it was an indication of where Alabama is right now as a program. And what better opportunity to prove that than on the road against a top 5 Georgia team? But it doesn't end there. Auburn goes to Texas A&M. Mentioned, I think Auburn could spiral. I think you start to see that, the cracks show there if they lose on the road, and that is a tough fixture for them against the Texas A&M team that is straight up an SEC championship contender right now. They're playing like one. Marcel Reed, his completion percentage isn't going to jump off the page, but he steps up in big moments. That defense is playing well, and they're going to be at home and rocking against an Auburn team that feels like they should have won against Oklahoma in what was probably a very emotionally draining game for quarterback Jackson Dart, who was sacked 9 times against his former team. LSU Ole Miss in Oxford, 2:30 on ABC. Man, this is a loaded weekend. If you're Lane Kiffin, how do you bench Trinidad Chambliss? Regardless of how healthy Austin Simmons is. And Austin Simmons, everybody loved Austin Simmons going into the season. And this kid out of Ferris State has come in when Simmons went down and is lighting it up. How do you bench this kid? I can't wait to see who Ole Miss starts at quarterback in a game between 2 4-0 teams.
Did you see Lane on Twitter? Because, of course, the thing that has also been added to this is that
yes,
his daughter, Landry, Lane Kiffin's daughter, Landry, is they've gone official. Her and LSU linebacker Whit Weeks.
Yes.
You saw Lane's response?
I did not see Lane's response.
He said, bet the over.
Yeah, Lane's going to run it up on Whit Weeks and that LSU defense.
Which, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is, but I kind of love it. I love that response from Lane, just generally, but
it's God. The kind of thing I hate. Like these are just college kids dating, but like it is the star linebacker of the LSU Tigers dating the daughter of the head coach of their rival Ole Miss, who they play on the road this weekend.
That's perfect.
Can't make this stuff up. And then Notre Dame at Arkansas, and another potential spiral moment, what it feels like for Arkansas after a heartbreaking loss where they blew a lead against Memphis. And then Tennessee trying to go to Mississippi State and avoid the road slip-up that has plagued Heupel teams in the past against inferior teams talent-wise. South Carolina a couple of years ago, happened at Florida in 2023, happened at Arkansas last year. So can they avoid that against a much less talented Mississippi State team that is much improved from last year and is led by former Heupel offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby? Fun weekend.
Fun weekend. All right, looking forward to that. We'll get back to your phone call. 615-737-1045 is how you join the discussion. Oh, do we have things to give away?
We do. Laney Wilson tickets.
Would you rather see Laney Wilson or Laney Wickett?
I was going to say something mean, but Laney Wickett's probably got a fatty.
Didn't stop himself anyway. 615-737. I appreciate that about you, that you thought about it and then did it anyway. 615-737-1045 is the number if you would like to see Laney Wilson in concert. You call us and you give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. 615-737-1045. No one wants to deal with a plumbing, HVAC, or electrical emergency. Most of the time, you don't know what it will cost or if it'll get fixed correctly or if someone is just trying to sell you something. When you call Hiller, their experts are going to solve your problems quickly. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. The price you're told is the price you'll actually pay. There's no hidden fees or surprises on your bill. Their 100% satisfaction guarantee of happy you'll be or the service is free is something that they live by. So book online today at happyhiller.com. That's happyhiller.com.
11:04, good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. Titans made a move on Tuesday, trading second-year corner Jarvis Brownley Jr. to the New York Jets, along with a 7th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 6th-rounder. Brownlee was a 5th-round pick out of Louisville in the 2024 draft. Titans head coach Brian Callahan announced on Tuesday that he is handing play calling duties to quarterbacks coach Bo Hardigree, who has play calling experience as the interim offensive coordinator of the Raiders for the second half of the 2023 season. Titans travel to the Texans on Sunday. Callahan will meet with the media again today, coming up at noon. You can hear that live right here on The Zone. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
It most certainly is for the opportunity to win those Lainey Wilson tickets. 615-737-1045 is the number. Call in and give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. I'll start. Lucas, you brought up the ethical concerns. What was that, last week? With Tom Brady being a part of the Fox lead broadcast, but also not just sitting in a coach's booth with a headset on, but having extensive meetings with Chip Kelly, who has since downplayed the nature of those meetings, which would inherently give the Raiders a level of advantage that they should not otherwise have. Tom Brady is on defense now against his critics, accusing him of having a conflict of interest, saying that it is his duty to utilize his knowledge of the sport, and anyone who doesn't see that is paranoid and distrustful. Sweet Thomas.
You have taken my dumbest thing in sports.
No.
But that's okay.
I'm sorry.
Because it is. It just is. It's not like it's not an opinion that it's a conflict of interest. Like, it is, like, by definition.
Yeah, you don't get to decide.
A conflict of interest.
Also, telling people that they're being paranoid and distrustful of Tom Brady, who is involved in multiple scandals of cheating across his legendary NFL career, and I understand he's great regardless, but that he hasn't found ways to find competitive advantages all over the place across his great and legendary career, please. Tom.
Guys, we're being a little harsh here because similar to Tom, I am also in a situation where it is my duty to share my expertise, which would be drunkenly smooching at bars. Cheyenne has constantly told me, you need to stop doing this. It's cheating. It is going behind our marital backs. And I was like, baby, it is up to me to share what I know about this with the community. And it would be distasteful for me not to do such. So I understand where Tom Brady is coming from.
Like, he's got to know how full of bleep he is, right?
Yeah, he sounds like an idiot.
I mean, Tom.
What do you mean?
No, you're paranoid.
What do you? I can't believe you guys thinking that I would cheat. Trying to find some advantage?
Now, where's my cell phone so I can destroy it with all those text messages?
Bring me my hammer, Thomas, whatever his son's name is that he kisses on the lips.
I respect that the strategy is just to be more aggressive about it. Be like, no, you're the dumb one. I'm sorry I took yours, Lucas. I should have asked.
It's okay. I can sub it out with Ryan Clark.
Oh.
Of ESPN.
Again?
We don't need to play the whole 2-minute clip. Ryan Clark said, and I quote, on ESPN about 5 days ago, about, speaking of the Raiders, running back Ashton Genty, quote, when you got it, and it pops. Ashton Genty doesn't have that it factor. We are 3 weeks into the NFL regular season. He is a rookie playing behind one of, if not the worst, offensive line in the National Football League. I saw this being brought up across the board on Titans Twitter. It took Derrick Henry until the midway point of his 3rd season in the NFL before he showed anything regarding that quote-unquote it factor, before he became Derrick Henry as we know him now. That is an insane thing. And I like Ryan Clark. And I know he's kind of gotten into it with the Peter Schrager stuff. And that's the non-former player perspective. And he got into hot water with that. But this is an insane thing to say about a rookie running back playing behind that situation 3 games into his NFL career.
That's dumb.
Insane.
Dumb.
What did he say about Peter? I ain't even gone that long.
Schrager?
That dude just got a job at ESPN.
Oh, no. They were on
I'm
sure you saw this. This was several weeks ago.
Yeah.
He was on the desk of Get Up, and Schrager.
Why is he standing on the desk? Sit at the desk.
What were they talking about?
I can't even remember. Something to do with CeeDee Lamb?
But he was basically saying, like, you didn't play, so you don't get it or
He
something
said
like that.
that's the non-player in you.
Yeah,
When
like-
Peter Schrager was providing a reasoned, nuanced, and informed opinion, and, Ryan Clark just dismissed him by saying that's the non-player in you. And to Schrager's credit, he pushed back on that. I think the line was, don't belittle me.
I just sent
that
it,
way.
Robert. I think it's worth playing. I mean, it was 2 weeks ago at this point, but we never talked about it. And Ryan Clark had to put out an apology. He apologized to Peter Schrager publicly and privately.
Well,
he's getting really good at that.
He's had to do it
Sorry for the
here.
things I said, guys. I didn't realize it would have hurt everyone's feelings like that.
If Ashton Genty pops for a 150-yard rushing performance this week, is he going to apologize?
Can I also say something? And the two of you are welcome to disagree with me, because I don't want to. It's not a blanket statement, like Lucas pointed out, that I came off too strong at the start of the show with, well, they just don't want any Rand Carthon players, which is obviously not true. Talking about the Titans and Jarvis Brownlee. But don't by percentage. And Robert, I'd be curious to know your opinion specifically on this. Don't you feel like former NFL players sometimes make the worst talent evaluators?
I mean, look no further than Mike Mayock. I mean, I understand that he wasn't a like, oh, I'm on the field, I'm a big player. But, like, he was a guy who was touted as this know-it-all guy.
Yeah.
Got slabbed as the Raiders general manager and then drafted one of the most putrid strings of team drafts in history.
I look at the top 100 every year, which is voted on by players, and I'm just like, how the hell did you get to that opinion? And I'm not saying that I know more than people who played football. I'm not talking about me specifically, but I feel like by percentage, there's a lot of players who have strong opinions about, like, Aaron Rodgers still being a great quarterback, because they've played against Aaron Rodgers and they've seen what he can do, and they've obviously got some level of experience, but they, like, heighten the lore of the former player as opposed to what the talent actually is at this point in their career. Is that a fair
I don't know. I mean, Aaron Rodgers still shows semblances of that is the thing.
Bad example.
He was that in week 1, and he was good against he didn't light it up against the Patriots, but they won the game. Yeah, I don't know. I have a tough time saying that, having that stance against guys that have been in the trenches like that. But I get what you're saying. Let's hear from Ryan Clark, shall we? Going after Peter Schrager.
Let's.
Wake up this morning. Are you feeling okay? You look at A.J. Brown, which is this number 1 wide receiver who got 1 target all night, and then you got CeeDee Lamb. But that's the
when was the one target?
That's the target. But I'm saying
when was the one target?
I'm saying you could have it both ways.
54 seconds left in the game on 2nd and 11. It was the one target. He runs the out route.
You wake up this morning saying A.J. Brown had a better day than CeeDee Lamb.
But you know what you wake up saying though? A.J. Brown's team is 1-0.
Of course,
right? Like that's what
I get it.
But the thing is this though, and we shouldn't do this on TV. And so I apologize if people think this is rude.
But I'm about to.
That's the non-player.
Oh, stop. CeeDee Lamb is.
Let me tell you why. I'm not looking at fantasy football.
Ryan, I'm not. Don't belittle me like that. I could come in and say, as 3 ex-players are saying one thing, and give an alternative perspective that maybe CeeDee Lamb did play well. And
Peter, what I need for you to do is not get mad and let me finish for one.
Okay.
It wasn't about you. It was going to be about me.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't about you. Shut up. This is about me. Come on.
Well, a lot of apologies lately from.
I'm
Ryan
sure
Clark.
he's a lovely guy, Ryan Clark.
And I think he is good at his job. Like I do.
He's good at TV. I think there are some things about, again, his evaluation of what it is that he's seeing, which are fair to poke holes in.
But yeah, that wasn't even my dumbest thing in sports. It was me saying that, or him saying Ashton Genty doesn't have the it factor. But
also dumb.
Yeah.
Also, Ashton Genty, decent game this past weekend. I know that the Commanders ended up winning that game pretty handily.
Geno Smith, man, throwing picks left and right.
Tough. Robert?
I'll make mine quick. Guys, I don't think we're supposed to be fans at NFL games anymore. I don't think that they want us to be fans like we think they want us to be fans in NFL games. Because this has happened to me 3 times in Ravens games. Going to Ravens games, big games, primetime, night games, AFC Championship. Last night on Monday Night Football, the 6th time it's ever happened in NFL history in Baltimore. I go to the game, and you guys know me. I'm a very passionate fan.
Yes.
If I'm going to go to the game, I'm going to do my job of what I think I should do to help my team win. But I'm also going to be respectful. I'm not going to make anyone else have a bad game. I'm not going to take away anyone else's game day opportunity. But I will stand on third downs. I will stand on defense, and I will holler. And I got told by the Ravens security that is not an appropriate way to act on game day because the Lions fans behind me were unable to see the game while I was standing on defense, while I was screaming for my team.
Well, they paid more money than you did.
Who would know? They were a row behind me, so maybe they paid more because they waited too long. But when your head coach tells you at the press conference before the game, we want this to be a hard place to play. We want you guys to come and make a lot of noise. And when I do that, I'm told that if I don't sit down, I'm going to have to leave. I think that's a bunch of baloney. So I'm here, and I don't even think it's a Ravens thing, man. I think it's just an NFL thing.
It is an NFL thing.
So when everyone else is like, oh, I wish we could have an environment like Philly. I wish we could have there will be no more environments like that because you are not allowed to be a fan anymore.
Well, Philadelphia, they'll just beat the holy hell out of you.
Yeah, they'll just take your hat and throw it and spit on you. But, me standing up and clapping, if I did not sit down, I was going to be forced to leave the game. Yes. Much to the chagrin of a bunch of Ravens fans around me. But I'll have another story to tell you from the game day where I did get a little bit of comeuppance. I don't know what it is about games where I go to games with a great headspace. Like, I'm not going to, like the AFC Championship.
You were sending us so many pictures of how happy you were at the tailgate with Steve Smith and all these other things.
I had a great day, but my whole thing is do not think that they want you to do what you want to do. They do not want that. They want you to pay your money and they want you to shut the hell up. Sit there and clap. Don't make any extra noise. That's my dumbest thing in sports.
That does feel like a very specific to NFL thing.
I don't think we at the Tennessee-Georgia game, we didn't sit down once. 4 quarters.
Dude, and we had kids behind us.
Halftime, we sat down.
Well, didn't you run the children off?
No. I had those. Lucas. I was teaching those kids how to cheer.
Lucas.
They did leave at some point in the first half. But everybody else was
I think it's just ridiculous.
So
like, you tell people to come to a game, you tell them to be loud. Like, I'm trying to be loud. Oh, we want it to be a hospitable or a hostile environment for the other team. But it's not like I was like, oh, you guys are fat and you suck and you've never won a Super Bowl and all this other junk. Like, no, I was just hollering.
It's hard to find legitimately hostile environments in the NFL.
And I think this is a pro sports thing just generally, like the corporatization of professional sports where they're just trying to get more for their seat value out of the people buying the tickets as opposed to, keeping the fans who are going to support the most, which tend to be, the ones that get priced out. I mean, the Preds are guilty of this. Preds, and it's obviously they've fallen off as a competitive product in a significant way, but the Preds after the Stanley Cup run, that place was a shell of itself.
They don't want to hear this, but it's like if you want to sit and be comfortable, like stay at home. But teams don't want you to do that. Teams want you to buy their tickets and pay these high-ass prices you've got to pay. Got to pay $900 to go to a game with your buddy. Like, that's what it is. Don't get loud. And then be upset when your team loses.
615-737-1045. We'll give you guys the opportunity to win those Lainey Wilson tickets coming up next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. We're going to have a Nashville SC guest join us, right, Lucas?
Midfielder Eddie Tagth ahead of their home game against Houston this weekend and their second ever Cup final as a club a week from today.
Eddie feels like the kind of soccer player that I would enjoy. Like, he seems like an absolute nuisance.
He's a fan favorite. That is actually his nickname, the Norwegian nuisance.
Well, then we'll look forward to talking to Eddie here in just about 6 minutes from now. In the meantime, we got tickets to give away to Lainey Wilson. If you can give us the dumbest thing in sports this week. How about Linda in Nashville first? And remember to stay on hold after you give your submission so that Robert can get back in touch with you. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, hey, this is the funniest thing I've seen in a while. In a Major League Baseball Mets game, Jacob Young, right at the fence, caught a ball in his glove, but it was right in the tip of his glove, and it fell out. Went down to his foot, and he bounced it off his foot up, and then he caught it. So he was catching balls out there with his foot.
Yeah,
I saw that. That was incredible.
There was some decent acrobatics. Not quite in the spirit of the dumbest thing in sports, Linda, but we do appreciate the submission.
I mean, it was dumb how awesome the play was. Did the kids say that?
Oh, you mean like dumb as in like a good thing?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the angle that Linda was going for, but we could take it.
Like, he literally juggled that thing up to himself like a soccer ball. Yep. It was insane.
Can he play wide receiver?
Why? Do you need one, or are you talking about the Titans?
Nah, I feel like everybody's dropping balls nowadays. Like, if you can catch them with your feet, go ahead and play.
Henry is in Clarksville.
All right, so my dumbest thing in sports has got to be Arkansas. Up by 18, and you end up losing, costing me a 17 parlay that I could use the money to buy these Lainey Wilson tickets for my wife.
Oh, Henry. Yeah, you're playing the game right, Henry. You know what you're doing.
No. Apparently Arkansas didn't.
No, that was brutal. Brutal. In Memphis, too. They had full control of that game, late fumbles, and then Memphis. Arkansas even had an opportunity to get the ball back, and they just needed a 3rd and long stop. They had their timeouts. They were stopping the clock. They would have gotten the ball back inside 2 minutes to go with no timeouts, with good field position. Memphis deep in their own territory. And on a 3rd and long, Memphis just bully balls up the middle for a first down. Game over.
Dumb. Dylan is in Hermitage.
Yeah, mine is Chris Collinsworth across the board. He is such a Pat Mahomes fanboy that he starts off praising him for being the guy that gathers the fumble up after he threw it behind the scrimmage pass. But then he says that Cam Scatterbo keeps nodding his head yes. And it's he's too polished to be that dumb, where you obviously know that he has some kind of a medical issue. It's a twitch, or there's something that Cam has, where I can't believe that him and somebody who's been doing it for this many years is that bad.
Thanks for the call, Dylan. I didn't see that game, so I'm unfamiliar with.
I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Have
either.
some kind of tick?
This is news to me. I don't know. I watched Cam Scatterbo ball out, just running through defenders against the Chiefs. But yeah, I'm not.
So
not sure.
that may be our ignorance, Dylan. I apologize, but we neither of us seem to have caught that on Sunday night. Jordan in Nashville is next.
Hey guys, my dumbest thing in sports is Kyler Murray. In a deleted Instagram post, Kyler posted a photo with his pit bull trunks while wearing a Michael Vick Virginia Tech jersey. This is tone deaf and dumb. However, Kyler Murray did apologize for the post at a press conference. But still, you need to think about what you post on social media.
Thank you for the call, Jordan. That's pretty dumb. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah. That's an intentional thing, right?
Yeah. No.
It's not even like a Falcons.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
The Mike Vick shirt just happened to be in the rotation today, boys.
In the Virginia Tech one. That you got to seek that out. I mean, that was.
Let's assume that was done with intent, and then was very. He just. I don't know anything about Kyler Murray other than the coverage of Kyler Murray, but he doesn't seem.
He's an interesting cat.
I just remember that first Dan Patrick interview he was doing as a draft prospect. like, do you remember the Dan Patrick interview?
Oh, yeah.
That was very widely publicized before he was the number 1 overall pick.
You going to go play baseball or you going to play NFL? Yeah. It's like, oh, you know you're going to be like the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, right? Like, you kind of need to say one of the two. Which one do you want to do? I don't know.
There are people.
Go listen to it. I swear he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was bizarre.
It was seeing Dan Patrick uncomfortable was weird. Like that dude.
It's very hard to make Dan Patrick uncomfortable. He's done so many interviews with so many different people.
That was a strange one. So, no, I think that's a good submission by Jordan.
Okay, let's go ahead and give it to Jordan for Kyler Murray being a bit of a dope. Well done by Jordan. All right. We are going to be joined by Eddie Tagth right now. We ready? Is Eddie here?
Let's try this out.
Uh-oh. We feeling good? Eddie, you with us?
Zoom has been a bit of a gamble lately.
All right, let's find out.
He's muted.
It's okay, Eddie. It may not be your fault. It might be your fault.
Can you hear me?
There it is. Yeah, look at him. What's up, Eddie?
He muted me. Now I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great. Thanks for taking the time. Obviously, for you guys this season, it's, every season comes with highs and lows, but how enjoyable has this season been? Understanding that you still have more to accomplish here on the horizon, but you guys seem to really be having a great time as a team.
Yeah, it's been very good. Of course, we had the amazing run in the summer with 14 games unbeaten. It's been tougher times now with some losses, but we're still in a very good spot. We're in the final. We're 1 game away from clinching playoffs, so we're looking good still.
So when you go through those slumps, as any team does, no matter how successful the season ends up being, is there been a commonality that you guys have been able to identify in the losses?
It's hard to say, and it's hard to find one specific thing. I think it's normal for a team, especially also when you do go 14 games without losing, and then you get a loss, and then you start thinking. But it's about getting back to it and doing the basics right. And I feel the last 3 games now has been good, even though we lost 2 of them. Unlucky, quite late on. So we're still looking very good, and I'm very positive for the rest of the season.
Nashville State midfielder Eddie Tagth with us on 104.5 The Zone. So, Eddie, the semifinal against Philadelphia last week. Obviously, you were coming off a heartbreaking loss, stoppage time winner by Cincinnati on the road, a rivalry loss in league play. And then to turn around and play a semifinal, the stakes that were on the table there, how are you guys as a group able to just make that quick snap and clear into playing a Philadelphia team that you've already beaten twice in the season and you knew was going to come in with the mentality that they didn't want to let it happen for a 3rd time?
I think it was quite easy. I think when you see Philly on the other side of the field, it's automatically you get switched on and you want to just smash them. So, for me, it wasn't a problem. I think we showed that in the game. We looked very up for it.
This game kind of cemented your status as a fan favorite among Nashville fans, Eddie, right? For those who didn't see, you caught an elbow in this game. Your face was bloodied up, blood streaming down. You had to go switch out your jersey, get it patched up, and then run back onto the field, quickly win back possession at probably the high point in that environment in terms of the crowd response in that moment. That was the moment of this game, Eddie, where I'm watching thinking, yeah, Nashville's not losing this game. They're headed to the U.S. Open Cup final. Just how cool was that for you to have that sort of connection, sort of moment with Nashville fans who obviously have embraced you since you got here in the offseason?
Yeah, that was a great moment. Obviously, I had to get out of the game a couple of times to get some blood off, and then very eager to get back in. And I was talking to the 4th ref just to let me in, and then I got the ball and we got the throw in. So yeah, hyped the fans up, and I think we needed a little boost at the moment. And yeah, the fans are amazing as always, and they've been really good to me. So I'm very happy to have that connection with the fans.
You may have one of the best nicknames I've ever heard, the Norwegian Nuisance. Who was the first person to bestow that nickname upon you, and how much do you relish that?
I'm starting to like it more and more. It was.
So you didn't like it at
first? Had to grow on you.
I liked it, but it was like unusual, and I didn't even know what it meant. So, and I don't know who was the first to say it. I know there's a little fan group by the sideline. They have T-shirts and everything. So it must have been one of them.
I just imagine, Eddie, obviously coming to this country and then being given a nickname like that, looking around, being like, "What are you calling me a jerk for? What are you talking about?"
Yeah, it was weird. But now I'm understanding that I might be a nuisance, so I'm just gonna take it
in the best possible way. Obviously, if you're a Nashville SC fan, I think it says more about me, Eddie, that I would like a nickname like that as opposed to you looking around and being like, I don't understand. What is this? What are these people's problem with me?
Yeah, now that's maybe what I was thinking in the start, but now I'm happy with it.
Well, opponents have had a problem with you all season. That's been a good thing, certainly for Nashville, with you being a part of that engine of the Nashville midfield under B.J. Callahan, looking for that first ever trophy as a club, U.S. Open Cup. But before we talk about that game against Austin next Wednesday, I'm just genuinely curious, because we were chatting pre-show, Eddie, about you and your background, how you got to Nashville, right? Moving to Liverpool to play for the academy as a 14-year-old, be coached by Steven Gerrard before heading back home to play for Norway and then coming to America. What was the bigger adjustment for Eddie Tagth? Was it moving to a different country, going to England at the age of 14 to play for a massive club like Liverpool, or was it to move from Norway to the United States of America as an adult like you did this past winter?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think when I was 14, I was still in school in Norway, and I never played soccer with like foreign players. So that was very, very challenging, very different. I had to suddenly start speaking English with my teammates and not to see all my friends and family back in Norway that much. I would say that was the biggest challenge, because moving to Nashville, I'm more grown up. I can drive my own car. I can cook my own food. So a lot of stuff has changed. But they're both different and challenging in different ways. But I would say moving to Liverpool was very challenging when I was a young boy.
Well, and this fan base, this city has certainly embraced you and this club, Eddie, as, your tunnel vision, you're focused on the season. I'm sure you're not paying attention to the other sports and what's happening in town, but things aren't great for any Nashville pro team not called Nashville Soccer Club at the moment. So the club has this opportunity next week to bring a trophy to Nashville. How much have you guys talked about that as a team? Not just what it would mean for the club, but what it would mean for this city to have a professional trophy brought back to Music City if you're able to beat Austin a week from today.
Yeah, it would mean a lot. Of course, we know about it. It's a motivation for sure. For me, it's something I would love to do for the city, for the fans, and for ourselves as well. It's when you go into every season, you want to end it with a trophy, and we have a massive chance now next week. And we want to do it for our club and for the city.
How do you balance the magnitude of next Wednesday with also having to play MLS regular season games this weekend at home against Houston, and even next weekend after that final in Austin, you head up to Montreal as you jump back into the regular season? How difficult is that to balance, just that mindset switch to go from league play to playing a cup final, and the way it's sort of sandwiched, bookended that way?
Yeah, it can be challenging, but I think we know also how big the game on Saturday is, and it's a home game. It's a game where we can clinch the playoff spot. So it can be a really nice way to also get a good feeling, get that win, clinch the playoff, and then have 4 or 5 days to get ready for Wednesday. And then obviously the season goes on after the final also. So it's a bit boring, but you take game for game.
Well, Eddie, I don't know if you're familiar with the rest of the local sports scene, but we need you guys to win. The city needs you badly, so we need that trophy. We appreciate everything that you guys have done so far this season, and we're rooting for your success, obviously. Thanks for taking some time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That's Eddie Tagth with us on 104.5 The Zone of Nashville SC.
That dude covers some ground. Let me tell you.
He seems like a badass.
Like, he is routinely covering 8, 9, 10 miles in a game. And Eddie Tagth's performances aren't going to show up in the counting stats with the goals and the assists, but yeah, make no mistake, what he does, breaking up play, initiating things for Nashville, is crucial. It's been a huge signing for this team in this system under BJ Callahan, and they host Houston on Saturday and then go to Austin for the U.S. Open Cup final next Wednesday.
Robert, what day is it?
What day is what?
What day is it right now?
Oh, gosh. Wednesday.
What do we do on Wednesdays?
It's Wet Powder Wednesday.
Next. Welcome back to the show, fueled by Hattie B's Hot Chicken. Zach Lyons, Blaine Bishop. I'm fascinated to hear what Blaine has to say about this Jarvis Brownley situation.
Oh, yeah. I'll be tuned in.
You all should be tuned in because Blaine is smarter than us for a great many reasons. But on this particular subject is when Blaine is at his best. So Blaine and Zach cover 2 from 1 to 3 right after us. And then 3HL.
In fact, I would like to recklessly speculate.
How did you just say recklessly?
Recklessly?
Please. It sounded like a Lucas pronunciation.
I would like to recklessly speculate.
Okay, proceed.
I think that part of the reason Jarvis Brownlee was let go is because Blaine Bishop is coming back.
And playing corner?
And they need him badly. Yes, that's why.
Now,
they had
I
to
saw
open up a
Blaine.
spot. They were worried that Blaine would, lay down the law, like stop with these penalties. Blaine would cut to the guff. Blaine would cut through the fat real quick. And they knew they couldn't bring him back unless they trim the fat. So that I would like to recklessly speculate.
Recklessly.
Well, all we've been doing is speculating on why, what else could there be here?
On that front,
yeah,
sure.
You're just left grasping for straws because there has to be a reason for just creating more roster needs for yourself. Because that's what this is, right? Like, you have lost a young corner. We hear it all the time from Coach Mack, from anybody. You cannot have enough corners.
Corners and pass rushers.
Corners and pass rushers. So you are literally creating more needs and not even filling that need with a bonus draft pick. You're just moving up from the 7th to 6th in 2025. So that's what, or 6, excuse me. So that's why I'm like, no, there has to be something here. There has to be, because it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. It just wouldn't make sense. And I'm not ignoring that the
They don't
value.
make sense.
No, well,
They
sure.
don't make sense on principle.
But I'm also not ignoring what they did not get for Jarvis Brownlee. Like, I understand what you're saying. Teams want to win the trade. They don't want to give up too much. They also want good players. Like,
Aaron Glenn got a good player.
Right.
Aaron Glenn, the former defensive back who knows how to coach that position, got a good player.
Right. So if the Jets or whoever really value Jarvis Brownlee and didn't care about whatever other stuff there might be around him, then they could give up an extra 6 for him. Right? But that no team was right. They didn't have to. And maybe that's it. But I'm also not ignoring that, because surely the Titans tried to get something more than what they got.
Well, he's injured.
Yes, he is injured. But I don't know. It just trying to make sense of it. And
yeah, they don't make sense. I know that's a lousy default position, but they're a lousy football team. So I don't think that it's that far afield to look at them and say, again, because the only person that's different about the people that drafted Jarvis Brownlee is Mike Borgonzi. And so Mike Borgonzi has Jalen Armour-Davis, and he has Samuel Womack, 2 waiver wire guys, and he has Marcus Harris, who they drafted in the 6th round, I believe, out of Cal. Maybe Mike Borgonzi is a believer that those people should be playing above Jarvis Brownlee. And that's not what Denard Wilson has been doing. There's also the logic that Jalen Armour-Davis and Samuel Womack just got here. So, Robert, was there any notion in Baltimore to the idea that, because that's where Jalen Armour-Davis comes from. They had too many, or they were satisfied with their corner situation. Although I got to ask you about Marlon Humphrey. I'm surprised that wasn't your dumbest thing in sports. Him doing a podcast right after that loss.
Oh, it's not just him. It's Kyle Van Noy. They all do it. Everybody does it. I can't even be mad at somebody for doing a podcast after when Micah Parsons. Everyone has a show. Yeah, I didn't love his tone, but let's not dig.
The tone was weird.
Don't you want me to be helpful? And you keep bringing up things that would make me unhelpful. Hey, I don't know why Bert didn't talk about his dumbass corner doing a. Shut up. We're supposed to be doing Wet Powder Wednesday, and he's over here asking me about Goober 1 and Goober 2. Like I know anything about what's going on in that. I don't even know what's going on in my head.
Well, Brian Callahan is scheduled to speak in 1 minute. The stream is not up yet on the website. Should we break and save Wet Powder Wednesday? What should we do here?
Yeah, let's get a break.
Callahan next. 11:55. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone studios. I'm Lucas Panzica. The Titans made a move Tuesday, sending second-year cornerback Jarvis Brownley Jr. to the Jets, along with a 7th-rounder in exchange for a 2026 6th-rounder. Brownley was a 5th-round pick out of Louisville in 2024. Head coach Brian Callahan will speak coming up in moments. He announced on Tuesday he is handing play-calling duties to QB coach Bo Hardigree as the Titans head to Houston to face the Texans Sunday in a matchup of 0-3 teams. For all your foundation repairs and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
All right, so Brian Callahan was scheduled for 11:50. It is 11:56. They said that they were going to move that up from the original time of noon. Perhaps the head coach will start his press conference on time, despite them trying to move it up 10 more minutes. Do I sound annoyed? It's because I am. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you want to get involved, we will go to said press conference where they will trot the head coach out to answer questions that the front office should be answering. That is also annoying to me and should be annoying to Titans fans because I think you deserve an explanation as to why you got a bag of peanuts for a starting corner who goes to the Jets, which is not necessarily a favorable landing spot, but there had better be some transparency, I think, on that front.
You want to hear something else annoying?
I do.
I don't find that annoying. I love that song.
Hate.
There's no way you love that song.
I love that song.
Hate. It's not a song.
I would watch that live.
Song. Michael McDonald performing Valor or whatever it's called.
It's not like a masterpiece like Round Ball Rock.
No, it is.
That's a song.
Let's hear it.
No, don't. No, please don't.
This sounds like a Skrillex song or something. Remember Skrillex?
Yes. What happened to Skrillex?
Are they done? Yeah, I guess that was a huge thing for a while.
It's just one guy, right? I don't think that it's a they.
So I know 54% of the audience said they don't care about the head coach being late to the press conference, but it's at a certain point, it's a little ridiculous. No, I mean, let's get this going, especially since they moved it up to better accommodate, whatever his schedule is. And now we're just going to do this thing on time where it was previously scheduled for noon. So
yeah, just who wants to come in late and do their job? It's just despicable. Anybody who can't show up, I'd say if you're not early, you're late in most cases. Anybody who isn't showing up on time, ready to do their job, just coming in the door as the show's starting, as the music's playing, anybody like that, just despicable. I spit at you.
Oh, like that Titans fan that just does those reaction videos spitting at his own camera. I can't get enough of those. I really can't.
We're talking about you.
All right. So I'm aware. Brian Callahan's apparently getting ready to just got the notification that it went live. So we will go and join that in progress whenever you're ready, Robert.
I got a good quarterback. The record is what it is. Ours is what it is, and it's a divisional football game that we're going to go to see who's the more desperate team to go win. And it's a heck of a challenge to go play on the road in the division, and they are a talented football team. I know the record isn't what they want, ours isn't what we want, but it's going to be a competitive divisional football game, and we're excited to get going. But we got to be on top of it. Their edge rushers are as good as they come in football. Those guys play really hard. They're a jet-style front. They're disruptive. Their linebackers are fast and aggressive. They got really good talent in the secondary. Stingley's one of the best corners in football. And offensively, they got real pass-catching weapons. CJ's a really good quarterback, a lot of respect for them and what they do. And it's Nick Chubb's running the ball decent for him too, which it's good to see him back out there running. And they're a good football team, and we got our hands full. We got to go play well. Got to play better than we played for the first 3 weeks to go get a divisional win, and looking forward to that. Good challenge. I know the Brownlee trade is on everybody's mind on top of it. Those are conversations that we have, and Mike and I have all those conversations. We're in lockstep with those decisions that get made, and those are things that are made for the short term and the long term interest of the football team, and that's ultimately what it was. There's short term there that's part of it, and there's a long term part of it too. That those are the conversations we have. So not more to elaborate on, but those are how those things get made, and that's what we think about when we make them.
What are the short-term and long-term benefits of the trade?
I'm not going to go into too many details of those conversations, but I think how I answered it is how I'm going to stay with it. So.
Was he headed for maybe a lesser role if he had stayed around with the emergence of Armour Davis?
You know, I think whether it's a lesser role or not, I think the important part is we do have some players there that we feel good about that are starting to play good football for us and getting ingrained in the systems and starting to have a little bit more action. So those guys that we're looking forward to seeing more of too. Got a couple of Marcus Harris is in there, Jalen Armour Davis, Bake's played well for us. So Snead's playing really good football as well for us on top of it. So we got some guys there that we're excited about.
Do you anticipate that starting spot being taken immediately, or is it going to kind of be a rotational competition for a week or two?
That's the latter, probably more likely. Some competition and some rotation, depending on how the practice goes and how those guys perform. That's part of it. Obviously both Jalen and Bake played last week. That'll probably continue through this week, and we'll see where we get to by game time.
Did he ask to be traded at all?
What's that?
Did he make any kind of request to be traded? Did he want that for him?
None that I'm aware of. No, that's nothing that was brought up to my attention. So no, I don't think so.
Talk draft and develop. He's a young player who started and had some success for you. It's hard for people to kind of put together how your draft and develop operates with trading a young, cheap guy who's showing some talent. Can you help connect the dots there?
Yeah, again, I think it's one of those decisions that get talked about. The details of we'll keep between us, but it's still part of the short-term process and the long-term range goals that we have. And those things are between Mike and I, and then what we see and feel, and we'll keep those things in-house.
What do you think you signal to the team with this trade?
Not a whole lot, other than we're trying to continue to perform those goals that we want here in the short term, which is to win games, and then the long-term version of how that goes when you accumulate picks. That's all part of the process. That's not really their job to worry about. Their job is to get ready to go play Houston and play well. Those are just part of the business, is a business of the NFL.
Fans are automatically going to wonder when a team struggles, even though it's only 3 weeks and a trade is made, maybe that signals the start of more. Should anything be taken along those lines?
No, I don't think so. I think that was a one-off situation unique to what it was, and Again, those conversations happen as they happen. There's front offices around the league from now until the deadline that call everybody in football, and they all are looking for different things. And so I can't say whether or not there'll be something more or nothing more. It's hard for me to make any predictions about that or take any statements about it. But I think that's always what front offices around the league are doing is trying to figure out if there's players to be had and if there's draft capital to be had, and that's constantly going on.
You mentioned the shifting. Go ahead, Lauren.
Oh, sorry, Joe. How much is locker room fit and character part of those short and long-term decisions you mentioned?
That's always that's part of every decision we make when it comes to the acquisition of players. When it comes to adding people that we want to be a part of the locker room, that we think have the right makeup and mentality to continue to fit into what we're trying to accomplish. Those things are every player we talk about, whether it's a draft pick, a free agency signing, a trade, all those things are a part of the conversation.
Did Jarvis fit into that picture for you?
Yeah, it wasn't anything about Jarvis in particular. It was more that these are things that we look at from, again, trying to make sure we have the best team to be able to put forward, and then what we have moving forward in the long term. So those are all parts of the conversation.
You mentioned the change in the play calling.
It wasn't anything about Jarvis in particular, but you decided to trade a semi-productive fifth-round pick in his second year for a step up from the seventh round to the sixth. So if it wasn't about Jarvis in particular, what was it about?
Again, it's about the short-term and long-term goals. I've already elaborated on it. You're not going to get any more details about the conversation. It is what it is.
Specifically, how is it not about the player?
No, it's always about all of it. All those things factor into the process, whether it's the player, whether it's the fit, whether it's what we think we can get for him, whether it's something that adds to the value of our draft capital. Those are all parts of the conversation, and those are decisions that we make as we talk about them.
You mentioned the shift in the play calling yesterday. I know it's only Wednesday earlier in the week, but have you noticed a difference when it comes to your preparation this week for the Texans after those changes you made?
Talking about for me personally? Yeah, I've spent, I've spent most of my time in special teams and in defensive meetings and making sure I got a good pulse of what's happening there and having more conversations with players, understanding some of the things that they think and feel. That's all a part of the process for me. And I'm still involved in the offense and still around it and in the meetings and all that stuff when it comes to the game plan. And but those guys doing a great job. We got a really good offensive staff, and I put a lot of trust in him anyway when I was calling it, and I have a lot of trust in him now with Bo calling it. So it's been good. I've actually enjoyed stepping back and looking at some other things that maybe I didn't have the time and energy to put into it because of other responsibilities. So it's been productive, I think.
To get an understanding of it, you said short-term and long-term goals for Brownlee, but entering this year, he was your starting corner, like one of your better corners. Did something change from camp until now to?
I think we've got some other players that are playing pretty good and guys that we're excited about and think that they can help us. So, again, those are all parts of what you weigh when you have that. Guys that can potentially gain you some value in the long term when it comes to draft capital. But we feel good about the guys that we have and how they performed.
Going to be on the field.
He's still working through that. That's a personal preference for the play caller. Some guys like to be on the field because I like to be able to have conversations and look guys in the eye and all that. Some guys like to be removed because it's when you're upstairs, it's quieter, it's calmer. You can sort of lay things out in front of you. I think he's done both. I think he started at one point in the booth when he was in Vegas and then came down. So it's up to him wherever he feels most comfortable. I don't have a strong preference for that. I'll be down there. Nick's been upstairs, and that conversation will continue. And then I think wherever he sees the best fit is where that'll be for him.
How will that impact the attention Cam gets? How's that going to impact? Because we see him down there with Cam. The whole time.
That's part of it. That's going to be part of the equation. It's going to be up to him, and I don't know what the final answer is at the moment. I think he's going to work through that, but we got plenty of guys that can go have those conversations and talk through it. I mean, we're all on the headset, so there's nothing that's going to get missed if that's the case if he calls from upstairs. But I'm not going to speak for him. He'll figure that out, and we'll have a plan in place for that if he does.
Talk about playing with the desperate mindset. I know some players said that on Monday as well. How do you do that without maybe putting additional pressure on yourself as well, or players not putting extra pressure on themselves?
So the first part one more time?
You talked about playing with a desperate mindset maybe on Sunday. I know some players mentioned that Monday as well. What does that look like, and how do you not put pressure on yourself by playing?
Yeah, that's always the line you got to toe is there's a part of just making sure you're focused on doing the fundamentals right, doing the basics right, playing good, solid football. But there should be an urgency and an energy that goes into how badly you want to find a way to win a game, and that needs to come out in how we prepare, how we practice. Then hopefully on game day there is no feeling of that. You just play fast and play free. But I think the urgency during the week is what really more what I'm referring to. When it comes to those things.
I know it's ultimately on him. About potentially rotating some of the front seven, I guess, around to try to get more pass rush. Are there other options as well in order to try to get the pass rush numbers up?
Yeah, that's all a part of what we need to do better. We have to find a way to get the quarterback on the ground. There's some guys that got some inside flex. Hottie's got some, Dre's got some. What is the best combination for who we're playing and what type of players we're playing against? There's pressure packages that figure into that as well. When and where do you bring 5 and 6? When do you fire zone? When do you zero? All those things are a part of it. There's things that we are looking at and how we can better improve our ability to get the quarterback on the ground.
I know it's ultimately up.
I just had a follow on that. Speaking of the edge guys, I know you guys wanted the bigger types in this year, maybe to help on the run games with setting the edge. Are you seeing evidence that at least in the run game you're setting better edges?
Yeah, that part's been we haven't we've done a better job sort of condensing the C gap and keeping the perimeter runs in check. Our biggest issue in the run game right now is the missed tackles. That's where we've had our explosive runs come from. Guys get to the second level and we're not getting them down for the runs that we should be getting them down for. The 4th and 1 against the Rams, for example, we got them dead in the backfield. Ends up being a 40-yard run. Those are the things that we got to do a better job of is getting those guys on the ground. But I do feel like our edges we've been stouter, stronger, more physical. It's been a little bit harder to get in those C gaps and outside over the early part of the year. So just got to keep doing that and then be able to get them on the ground.
It's ultimately on him to do it. But what can you guys do as a staff to try to help Calvin snap out of the funk he's been in?
I think there's the work part of it, just go back to work and focus on the things that help you execute the basics. Again, catching the football is sort of the basic requirement of the job, and you have to work at that sometimes. And that's a mindset, that's a focus thing. The other part of it is, I try to remind them every now and again. You just try to build their confidence back up. But, it's Calvin Ridley. You know what I mean? Like, He's a first-round pick. He's been a great player in this league. He's won national championships. Sometimes guys need to be reminded that that's who they are and build the confidence back up. It's like I said, it's like a slump for a hitter, and you got to find a way out of it. And sometimes it just takes the one catch or the one play to break that feeling, and you're kind of right back to where you are. So that's the sports psych part of it. There's an element of that for all these guys. When things aren't going their way, and we got to find a way to help them get out of it.
Where's the middle screen in kind of what you're looking at, and it doesn't seem
schematically?
Doesn't seem like you've looked at that at all in terms of what you're doing short game.
Yeah, we've had a couple of screens get called, not necessarily executed well enough. We've had one or two with Cam trying to find a lane with some of those screen plays and where the ball fits in. That he's actually ran a few of them, that were actual screen calls because the way the window looked and how the ball had to get delivered, he just took off and ran with it. So there's been a couple of them that have been called. We just haven't hit on them, and we haven't executed those well enough. And then some of the, like I said, we had legal downfield on one screen, a couple weeks ago. And the halfback screen, middle screen game is something that we're still trying to continue to improve.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
You feel better, Lucas? Go ahead.
I am more confused than I was before.
I'm just going to text Jason Fitz that we're going to push Fitzy to tomorrow because I feel like we should talk about this. But go ahead. The floor is yours.
Don't feel good about anything at the moment.
I mean, what do I do with that? What could I possibly do with that would lead to a productive conversation about the future of this football team? Other than to point at it and laugh and say it's ridiculous for him to be even up there answering these questions. It should be Mike Borgonzi or Chad Brinker. It makes absolutely no sense that you traded away a guy other than just tell us you want to play the other two. The other two that the new GM brought in, and that they were playing Jarvis Brownlee from a previous general manager, and they want to see the other guys. And that would be more transparent, more satisfying. It's not a satisfactory situation either way, but get the bleep out of here with that.
Yeah, I'm confused.
No mitigating circumstances. No, he didn't ask for a trade.
Yeah, it didn't have to do with the player.
No behavioral issues. Not even acknowledging that they might reduce his role, and he threw a hissy. Congratulations to the New York Jets. 615-737. I mean, it's just unbelievably stupid. No? Like, I know you don't want to be as strident as me, Lucas, and I completely understand that. But
I'm just confused.
Help me here.
I want to learn more. I want to.
I think we just did. I think we learned everything that we need to know.
I get what you're saying, but we didn't. That's the thing. When that happens, I see more there, right? Like, I see more than just a bad trade. That's where my brain goes. Okay, there's a reason for this. So Brian Callahan isn't going to get up there, and nobody from the Titans is going to get up there and rip Jarvis Brownlee, right? So, okay, that's not what you're expecting or what you want to hear. But when you're talking about short-term, long-term, like I just want to see the picture clearly, right? I want to, okay, where's the short-term in terms of how you're better in the short-term without a starting corner? And then where's the long-term if you're not gaining picks or pick? You are moving your pick that you had in the 7th up to the 6th. That is what happened in this trade. I'm just confused.
No, I know. Buddy, I don't, and I don't want for the audience, like, because I told Lucas before this press conference ended, because obviously we're reacting to this while the press conference is going before we turn our microphones back on. I wanted to make sure that Lucas understood that I'm not antagonizing you with that just because this has been my opinion. And I talked to people yesterday about it. Like, I'm not coming in just guns blazing out to get them type of situation. The explanations that I was provided yesterday were unsatisfactory. And so to be further ratified by the head coach who shouldn't have even been up there in the first place makes me want to scream on behalf of this fan base.
If it's not about the player, I just want to know, then what is it about?
Yeah, they want to play the other two guys that Mike Borgonzi brought in.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
In the end, you didn't get much out of the deal, if anything. So
you got lesser value
than what you
pick.
invested. Than what you invested in the pick, right? A year and a half ago.
There's no additional picks. This is not additional ammo for you to move up in a draft.
Right. You're not dumping a contract, right?
He's cheap as hell.
He's cheap. He's fifth rounder in his second year of his rookie deal. I'm just confused.
That's why I don't understand why, and we can get into more of this in the next segment, but why was it so hard to say what your short-term and long-term plans were? Our short-term plan is to get our younger corners and some of the guys we've acquired more snaps. Our long-term plan is to acquire middling draft capital. I don't know. Why couldn't you say that? Even if it's just a short-term plan, we like these guys. We want to play them more. We're going to keep that in-house. I mean, you told us in a roundabout way, but you wouldn't come out and say it on your own. That's what I don't understand. There's not a congruent message.
Well, somebody finally told him that he's talking too much at press conferences, that he digs himself into these holes, and that it's almost better to say nothing, except in this situation where you need more info if you're not going to look like a fool.
Sean on the F&M Bank chat says, I don't understand why this is so hard to comprehend. The only conclusion is that it was a player/coaching staff clash that was too much to put up with. And Sean, again, I am aligned with you. That sounds like probably the most logical reason. We can only go off what we hear from them. And Brian Callahan just told us it had nothing to do with the player.
Sean, publicly and privately, they're saying he wasn't a problem behaviorally. You just heard a press conference where the coach is saying he wasn't a problem behaviorally.
I get where Sean is. That's where I was. I said, okay, then there has to be something. Right. Jim Wyatt yesterday on 3HL said maybe there's something there behind the scenes.
Jimmy's just trying not to, Jimmy's got a job. He works for the organization. I'm not down on Jim Wyatt by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going at Jim Wyatt. But Jimmy did the most diplomatic thing humanly possible, which is just to say new administration. Except it's not.
Well, it's about, not speaking for anyone but myself.
Sure.
It's about trying to make sense of it. Okay?
There is no sense to be made. Other than Marcus Harris and Jalen Armour-Davis, whom Mike Borgonzi brought in, they want them to play more. The coaching staff was not playing them more. Now, there's reasons to believe that Jalen Armour-Davis, who just got here not that long ago, needed additional time before you can toss him out there. That's the only explanation. But Marcus Harris been here. If you wanted to play Marcus Harris, why not play Marcus Harris? Jarvis Brownlee didn't play last week. Now's the get the bleep out of here. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll take your phone calls next. Two Rivers Ford is not just helping Middle Tennesseans find the best vehicle for your family's budget or your family's needs, and have been doing that for over 4 decades. They're here to help the local community as well. Like I mentioned, they've been in Middle Tennessee for over 40 years, and so they take every opportunity that they can to give back, and they're asking for our help. I'm asking on behalf of Two Rivers Ford for your help. They are going to collect non-perishable food items to benefit the Second Harvest Food Bank and the Mount Juliet Help Center as they help to feed those who need it most in our community. When you are grocery shopping next, pick up canned tuna, chicken or salmon, protein bars, low-sodium soups or chili, boxes of cereal, dried beans or rice, anything that would be considered non-perishable that can be stored and served over the next few months. And then drop it by the dealership in the F-150, displayed right up front in the lobby at Two Rivers Ford. 76 Belinda Parkway is where you can find them. And you have until the end of the month, so September the 30th, to do just that. It's all a part of the Ford Motor Company's Global Caring Month and the world's largest food dealership drive. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Well then, welcome back to the show. Jason Fitz has been kind enough to move again for us. It's the second day. We have rescheduled our dear friend and colleague, Jason Fitz. He will join us tomorrow.
Our little nomad.
He's a sweet angel for that. But I texted him, Fitzy, I have too many thoughts on this ridiculous, alleged professional football organization that I just have to get off my chest, and I don't want you to have to be a party to this because I'm livid on behalf of fans, which is a ridiculous position for somebody like me to have to take because I'm not one of you. I'm not a Titans fan. There's no reason that I should have this level of rage on your behalf. But there are things in life that would bother anybody across the board. None more so than a collection of people who invest in a thing having their time wasted. The Tennessee Titans in 2025, beyond the drafting of Cam Ward, have been a waste of time. And that press conference does absolutely nothing to change any of that. If anything, I feel bad for Brian Callahan. He shouldn't have to be up there. That should be Mike Borgonzi. That should be Chad Brinker, somebody with some level of personnel control. Robert, what is the example that you brought up, similar to Callahan, that you felt bad for the last time that they did something like this as an organization?
When Rand Carthon had to come out and answer to Mike Vrabel being fired.
When Rand Carthon didn't fire Mike Vrabel. They do this stuff all the time. And it's not just them. But I'm telling you, bad teams stay bad for a reason. And it's not like Jarvis Brownlee is not Sauce Gardner. He's not Derek Stingley. As I said in the first hour, he may not even be a starting cornerback on the Jets. But he's a depth piece on a bad roster that you're supposed to be making better. And I defy a single one of you to tell me that Jarvis Brownlee, if he was your fourth corner, wouldn't make you a better roster. I think this is garbage.
Well, he's a starter. Yeah.
He's a starter here.
He's at the top of the depth chart. He was at the end of training camp. He's a player that has had, the things that you can look to and say, this has to improve, the penalties, some of the temperament stuff. But, at the same time, like the amount that Denard Wilson has talked about aggressiveness and the edge that they want out of the cornerback position, right? It's why they traded for L'Jarius Sneed. So
yeah, and that guy's super reliable as a commodity.
Again, I keep coming back to confusion, right? Because I thought that Jarvis Brownlee kind of encapsulated everything that Denard Wilson talked about. I mean, from his opening press conference, his introductory presser as the Titans defensive coordinator, remember? Everything he talked about in terms of the aggressiveness at the line of scrimmage, guys that won't back down, all of these things. I thought Jarvis Brownlee was all of those things.
No, he is.
So
he's just apparently too much for them to handle now. And not even that.
And if that's the case, then I want to know. But I want to know if there's, because there might be a good reason. If there is, they're not telling us.
Not only did they not say that, they said the opposite. They said it has nothing to do with Jarvis. If trading Jarvis Brownlee has nothing to do with Jarvis Brownlee, then what the hell are we talking about? It's the most ridiculous. Maybe it's not the most ridiculous press conference and I wasn't obviously a part of it. I wasn't there because we're sitting here. But I just can't think of a more confounding press conference in recent memory beyond John Robinson. Why the hell did you sign Vic Beasley when the Falcons are basically shouting to everybody who will listen, don't sign this player. We don't want him.
Like, I want to reserve judgment until I have the information. But the only information we're going to get, unless something is leaked, right, or there's a report about anything that maybe could have happened in the last week or two. Other than that, all we have is the Titans head coach speaking at a press conference. That's what we have right now.
To speak at.
Right? Yeah, speaking on behalf of a move that he didn't make. And so it's hard. Like I want to reserve judgment. But the reasons or lack thereof given by the coach, that's what's coming from the organization, that it had nothing to do with Jarvis Brownlee. The only thing that makes this move make sense is it having something to do with Jarvis Brownlee, right? That is the only thing.
Either he wasn't good enough as a player,
right,
and you thought you could get value. You didn't. You've got players on your roster who can be relied upon more than Jarvis Brownlee. To this point, would he and Darrell Baker Jr. not be the most reliable thing they've had in their secondary, not named Amani Hooker? Because who was there to bail your ass out when Snead and Cheeto Awuzie went down? Jarvis Brownley. 16 games he's a starter. Again, I'm not saying that he's any kind of all-world corner. That's not what this is. It's the principle of it. It's nonsense. Do not let them tell you otherwise. 615-737-1045 is the number. If you would like to participate, you are welcome to do so. Mark is in Nashville up next.
Yes. Generally, I don't agree with much Buck says, but I'm going to tell you something right now. He's absolutely right. He was first response when he started laughing. Not only should Callahan be absent from a press conference, he's usually late. He should be absent. Have a good day.
Thank you for the call.
Stoney Keeley is in the FNM Bank chat. By the way, all the best to Stoney, who is bed-laden with a hernia.
What?
Ridden?
Bedridden. I said laden. Bedridden with a hernia. Stoney, wishing you the best. He was tweeting that he went under for a hernia the other day.
I thought he was joking because the Titans gave him
He was like posting pictures of him in a hospital bed. So unless it was a very well executed bit by Stoney on social media.
Stoney, confirm. Are you well?
Please.
Did he post a picture of the hernia?
Or did the Titans?
No, he did not.
Does crappy Titans football give you a hernia?
We'll wait for confirmation on that. Stoney Keeley, who you can hear on Titans Talkback with Kevin Dyson and Zach Lyons after Titans games right here on The Zone. Stoney says, head on a swivel to Vondre.
Yeah, that's...
That right
what you want for him?
Naturally, we start
what
to
do you
think,
want for? Yeah, you want
what
him?
you want for him? What you want for Jeff? I'll take both.
Oh yeah, Ravens could use an interior defensive lineman. That's for sure. Get Matabiki going down.
Sure, just send another quality player to the Ravens.
Well, but that's the thing though. Like a fire sale, shipping off parts for picks makes sense for where the Titans are. It makes sense.
He said it wasn't that.
Right. Again, which brings me back to I'm confused.
Your sigh. That's as close to defeat as I've seen you since Nick Saban was still at Alabama.
Stoney has confirmed it was a legit hernia. He is out of bed for the first time since Monday morning. So.
I love that Lucas is trying to make sense of this, trying to find some piece of something that makes any sense. It's like deciphering the Dead Sea Scrolls. He was like, oh, okay, it says here that Jordan was a part of that, but how could that be possible?
This is how I feel just trying to do basic division.
Well, this is...
Do I carry the one?
Make it make sense.
What's 70 divided by 6? I don't know.
Hey, it goes in there a couple times.
Well, but you know what?
Carry the one? No, that's multiplication.
I don't say many nice things about you and Lucas because I don't feel many nice things about you and Lucas, but the thing that I do respect about Lucas is that he does a great job trying to buffer me from being too extreme because I can fly off the handle because I am... bothered by a lot of dumb bleep that they do.
Like saying that's the most ridiculous press conference you've ever seen is extreme. I've seen plenty of press conferences that are more ridiculous than that.
Well, from them.
I don't know. But once you see Butch Jones say that a dude fell on a helmet when he just got punched in the face by a teammate,
I haven't had one of those
You've seen
yet.
it all.
Although this is kind of, it's not the same thing, but Callahan, Butch Jones vibes?
Tomato, potato.
Okay. I'm just saying, I appreciate that you are there to devil's advocate me on some stuff.
Well, because I've always been a believer that it is not as good as it seems, and it is never as bad as it seems.
Okay.
Right? So, for your initial reaction off the top of the show was that they traded Brownlee because they are incompetent and because he was drafted by Rand Carthon, and that's the reason. My instinct is, no, obviously it's something else.
Sure.
And it still could be. That's the thing.
They just told you it wasn't.
They just told us it wasn't, but it still could be. But we can only go off what they're telling us. So the fire sale scenario makes sense for this team.
They're saying that's not what this is.
They're saying that's not what this is. But it would make, if they started to ship off parts and pieces, because Brian Callahan is not going to get up there and say, oh, yeah, there will be more trades to come. We also have to decide what they just aren't going to say.
Man, I don't know what he's going to say. He got up there and said it was his decision to give up play calling and then defended his play calling. I don't care.
No, but also no head coach in the NFL after a trade that he didn't make is going to step up and say, yep, you can expect to see more guys traded. That's just not going to happen.
I don't know, man.
So that's a non-issue for me. But the fire sale scenario is what makes sense for this team. What doesn't make sense is one of those players that you are fire selling being a second-year player that you've gotten something out of as a fifth-round draft pick for next to nothing in terms of the value, for less value than what you spent to draft him, right? Shipping off Jeffrey Simmons for, I don't know, a first, second, whatever that would look like because he's having a great year, that would make sense. As painful as it would be to see your best player to go, that makes sense to fit what they're doing long-term, which is an approach that makes sense for where they are. This is a rebuild down to the studs.
Yeah, but he should have been a part of the rebuild. And it's your job to figure out how to make a cheap, talented, enough player that can at least serve you in a reserve role. It's your job to figure it the bleep out.
It's not the type of player that you expect to see in there in the fire sale category of players.
Because I saw some comments, why am I so bothered about this if I'm not a Titans fan and I'm a reporter? Because I'm not saying it's Brian Callahan, even though he was the one that was trotted out to speak to us today, and he was scheduled. He was always going to speak. There was always going to be a Wednesday press conference. But it would have been right for them to get out in front of him so that he doesn't have to deal with this because it wasn't his decision. It makes me think that organization, whomever decides how this is going to be orchestrated in terms of the presentation of it, must think that we and the fans are dumb. That's why I'm offended by it. You can be honest with people to an extent. You don't have to be fully transparent as an NFL organization. I get that. There are some things that are not beneficial to have out in the public, but don't patronize. It's as bad of a thing as an organization that doesn't win could possibly do. 615-737-1045 is the number. Jump in if you want. Vaughn is in Laverne.
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
We're good.
Man, I'm going to keep it quick, man. First thing, can't call it a conference. We might need to rename that to a less conference because we come in with less information than we had before it.
I like that.
Secondly, we need to retire the phrase draft capital because it further lets the fan base know that y'all really don't have a plan for right now in place because y'all keep planning for the future when the future is now. You just let go of Brownlee. So you just indicted yourself to show the fan base that y'all cannot draft and nurture talent down here, man. So that was my piece. I appreciate y'all taking the call, man.
Thanks for the call, Vaughn. How about Tyler in Smyrna?
Hey, guys. Appreciate you taking my call. I agree. Every bit of this is stupid. I don't understand it. I'm curious what you guys think. I normally, there's been a lot of talk about ownership, and ownership's got to go, sell the team, blah, blah, blah. And I normally, don't get into that because I don't know. I just don't think it's gotten to that point for me. But today with the press conference, you guys mentioned it. Why is Callahan out there talking about personnel decisions, right? To me, this just goes all the way up to the top. So I'm just curious what you guys got to say about that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day because, owners, and she's not involved in the trading of Jarvis Brownley.
Yeah.
So I can't, but at the end of the day, it is her organization that is being run poorly. You can't do anything about the ownership situation. I can't do anything about the ownership situation. I think she would be the worst thing that she could do, the thing that would make you question her intentions the most is if she sold, because these things, Lucas, I was reading this morning, I get these newsletters from The Athletic, and it was an interesting piece on why NFL and NBA franchises are so much more valuable than EPL franchises, because you wouldn't necessarily think that would be the case given the international appeal of those things, as opposed to the Dallas Cowboys. You could, I think it was you could pay for 5 Atletico clubs and still have money left over with what it costs to buy the Dallas Cowboys. And it was an interesting conversation there. Like, NFL organizations are incredibly valuable assets. So it would be insane if she sold it, even though many of you are in position. But something about the way that this thing has been run, it doesn't mean that they can't eventually get it right. I reserve the right to be proven wrong about how bad they have been at this. But at every turn, they give you something to look at them and question them. And then they'll make you think that you're the one that doesn't know what you're talking about. That's offensive. Chris is in Houston next.
Yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time. I mean, I could criticize the front office. I'll play devil's advocate. I mean, I'd criticize the front office for keeping Callahan when you got rid of Rand or never getting in front of the press conference. I mean, those things. But I feel like Berganti thus far has been pretty good. So I just kind of feel like with Brownlee at the end of the day, I mean, look, he had 8 penalties last year, 3 this year. Tells you guys in the media, like, it's the ref's fault. I'm not going to get better. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I think we could have just, I'm playing devil's advocate. Maybe we could have just done better and moved on. We don't have time to spend trying to change that mentality. We got to get rid of the penalties.
Yeah, okay. That doesn't mean that he can't help you as a depth corner. Like, it doesn't make sense to move him now. What, Robert? Or are you throwing your hands up in the air about something else?
No, it's just dumb to make he was a bad player. He was a bad player. Oh, he was penalized a lot. Okay. He was still starting for your team. Like, just to say, I'm glad they got rid of a bad player. They got less back in return than what they drafted him with.
He was a 5th-round pick. They gave up a pick to get a 6th.
Like, I don't care if you know who else who has a lot of penalties? Patrick Surtain. You know, good corners are going to have a lot of interceptions. It's your coaching staff's job.
Penalties. You mean penalties?
Penalties, yes.
I want him to be aggressive. I don't want a corner to have to. I don't want one that you're going to have to coach into being aggressive. You've got the hard part. You got the right mentality. And you can't fix it as a coaching staff? That's on you. Last call for phone calls. There are calls to take. I'm Buck Rising. It's 104.5 The Zone. All right, last call for phone calls. If you got them, 615-737-1045. There are phone calls to take, so we will do just that. Before we get to some polls, do we have polls today?
Sure.
Okay. That was as close I've gotten to him, getting him to admit that he did the polls. I'm on to you. Johnny is in Gallatin.
So we're a draft and develop team. That's what we've been told. So we have a 5th-round pick who's now a starter. That our answer to that is to trade him for a 6th-round pick. I mean, I'm not one that often wants to talk about this, but, like, I'm not I don't like the call in, but this just makes my head hurt. Make it make sense.
Well, I can't. Sorry, Johnny. I wish I had better for you. Yeah, they are famously not good at this. So until they're good at this, we have no reason to expect that they would continue to be good at this. Phil is in Bellevue.
Yeah, guys. I want to say I've been making the Butch Jones comparison since last year. Gets up twice a week and just says 20 minutes of absolutely nothing. But as far as the penalties in the Brownlee trade, I feel like it might be kind of a last-ditch attempt to kind of change that penalty narrative and make that number look better in the long term. Even if it's going to hurt the defense, I think that's something they're really worried about front of house. So that's just my thoughts. I think it's a bad move, but I think that might be the reason.
Thomas is next.
What's up, y'all? Appreciate the call. So it's hard not to laugh at this stuff because Callahan went out there trying to get ahead of it and ended up way behind it. And I feel like if we kept Christian Fulton all that time, I know it was a different leadership and all of that, but Christian Fulton was way worse than Jarvis Brownley. So, I mean, I can go even further with Paris Cox. Like, dude, it's like this is a second-year player. You want them to get better, and it finally looks like you drafted somebody that's decent, and you let them go for basically nothing. And us as Titans fans got to stop getting ahead of ourselves, and I fall victim of this too. Because we was complaining about not having primetime games, but, I mean, we shouldn't bore the rest of the world with this franchise.
No, but you deserve better from your franchise, Thomas. That's
absolutely.
That's the thing at the end of the day. Like, I appreciate the perspective and I do appreciate the call, but like they do wrong by you. For 3 years, they have done wrong by you. And you shouldn't have to be the ones to answer for that. Titanomics is next.
Thanks, Buck, for taking my call. Lucas, what's up? Man, we're making a lot of news for all the wrong reasons when we have a number one pick. But we're not in the locker room. We're not in the DB room. But I can speculate. I really think that they just came to Brownlee and told him, look, man, you got to stop with the penalties. Even probably some of the players probably approached him about the penalties. And I just think he just took it the wrong way. And but my question, though, does this...
Well, let me just say real quick, that's complete speculation because they've just said that didn't happen at a press conference.
They said it was an altercation. That couldn't have... I ain't saying
there was no altercation that was mentioned.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it was a fist fight, but I'm saying it could have been just like, hey, man, slow down on the penalties. And he could have been like, well, I ain't doing nothing wrong. It's just not an agreement. Altercation, no, but not coming to an agreement. But my other point was, doesn't this look bad on Brownlee to be traded the way that he was traded? It's almost saying, like, tell me without telling me if he was traded the way he was traded.
I get where he's coming from. Like, I have to believe that it is something to that effect. And to your point,
okay,
Brian Callahan said it has nothing to do with the player. Okay. I guess, okay, to play devil's advocate, what would be the appropriate, if it has to do with the player and his personality, and that's the reason why they wanted to ship him off, and that's the reason why they didn't get any real value in return, then what is the appropriate thing for the head coach to say in that moment?
You are welcome to believe whatever you want to believe.
You're welcome to believe whatever you want to believe.
No, you.
No, I'm asking you, though. I'm asking you.
What's appropriate for him to say? Yeah. At the podium?
Yeah. Like, what would be the appropriate, like, if that is the reason, if there's something deeper there, which, again, there just has to be, then what?
No. You have to stop saying that because there's no evidence at all. In the same way that there is no evidence one way or the other, you have to stop saying that there has to be. Lucas, they keep telling you that there's not. I don't want to do.
You didn't answer my question.
What's the question?
Then what would what would be an appropriate response from Brian Callahan then? I agree with you.
We wanted to move in a different direction. You don't have to give me details.
No, I don't need details. Because he's directly asked about Jarvis. If it's about Jarvis, he said it's not about Jarvis. What would be the appropriate response from the head coach then?
We wanted to move in a different direction. We want to see other guys play.
But if it's about the player,
we want to move in a different direction. We want to see other guys play. Like, I'm not asking him for great detail. You don't have to give us. I'm not asking for full transparency here. They make these situations worse.
It needs to be framed better, yes, because there's got to be something there that is not getting out to the public. We know Jarvis Brownlee, the stuff that popped up during his draft process, the penalty stuff, like the temper stuff, like we know that. Did that lead to them just not wanting him to be part of the locker room anymore?
Sean says, why can you not allow the Callahan is simply not telling you the truth? That he's simply not that he's lying? Well, listen, they say whatever they want at the press conference. He said he gave up play calling by his decision and then defended his play calling. Yeah. So, I don't care.
I'm just saying the coach saying it has nothing to do with the player doesn't mean that it has nothing to do with the player. It could still very much have something to do with the player.
Yeah, it has something to do with the other players that they rather play. And when asked about the long-term and the short-term, he has no answer other than long-term, short-term, long-term, short-term. Like, I just assume there's a note card in front of him that says long-term, short-term.
Then why aren't they getting more in return?
Find me any reporting anywhere from anybody who reported about this trade that says that he was a problem, that says that he asked out, that said that they had a disagreement. Anywhere from the national people that broke the news to the people locally in New York who are reporting on it, to the people in Tennessee who are speaking about it, there is not a shred of evidence to that effect. And if they are up there at the podium saying, it wasn't that, then it doesn't have to be something else.
Just trying to make sense of it, man.
Yeah, well, you can't. And I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at the situation. It's dumb. See you tomorrow.